It all kicks off with a hypothetical meltdown. What if the workplace just vanished? Poof! Emotions are tossed around like confetti, rage, gloom, existential dread, the full set. Cut to a guy staring at his phone, the robotic voicemail voice not helping his spiraling vibe. Somewhere in the chaos of office debris, a guy slumps and mentally checks all of the above. Confused and slightly panicky, he wonders why nobody picked up the call, as if that could fix anything. Sunset tantrum, 6-month time skip. Now he's scrolling job posts in a cafe, politely being told he's too vintage for the role. He nods along to the rejection and mentally sighs. Turns out being experienced isn't helping his part-time job hunt. Time keeps slipping, but no gigs land. The only thing stacking up? Rejections. One more phone bill and his bank balance will have a personal meeting with rock bottom. Rent's coming like a freight train, but wait, there's a glowing distraction. A superlit convenience store catches his eye. Had it always been this radiant? Flyer spotted. All ages welcome. That was his cue. Chan marches in like his destiny in neon signage. He gestures toward the flyer, basically asking if the dream's still alive. The attendant blinks like she wasn't expecting actual applicants today. Chan's puzzled by her reaction. Was it something on his face? She vanishes before he can decode it. She returns, plot twist in hand. Turns out she's the manager, not just some overachieving student. Chan's mind does a double take. Disappearances really do lie. She motions to a table, zooms off for drinks like it's a coffee shop meet cute. She fumbles the offer. He fires back with Americano, interview, or cafe order. Hard to say. Interview mode activated. First up, basic stats. Chan gives the usual 20 local, unemployed but enthusiastic. She checks his resume, which is mostly verbal, and he confirms he's no stranger to the barcode scanner. Her eyes sparkle like she just found the missing piece to her convenience store puzzle. Jackpot. She casually drops her age bomb, asks to skip the formalities, and outlines the terms. A 1-year vampire shift contract. 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. Chan pauses. No one dreams of becoming a reverse bat, but rent's rent. Pay rate dropped like a bomb. 20,001 an hour. Chan didn't even blink. He basically signed up before she finished the sentence. She slid over the contract with that don't read it too long energy. Chan scribbled his name like a man chasing zeros. Uniform in hand, he dove straight into a crash course with the manager. 3 hours later, she was wrapping up with a reminder about early morning supplier ninjas. He raised an eyebrow at the dawn deliveries. She shrugged. Emergencies only. Otherwise, it's her circus. Suddenly serious, she gave him the look. Suspicious customers must be handled professionally. No judging allowed. Chan reassured her with unexpected confidence. Shady folks? Been there? She looked way too relieved. She offered a final good luck and a subtle don't get haunted vibe as she slipped out the door. Chan waved back, gearing up for whatever night shift weirdness awaited. He exhaled like a deflated balloon. Finally, rent and bills wouldn't be a boss fight anymore. And not only was the pay great, but the manager wasn't half bad either. Rare combo unlocked. Then came the math. 12-hour shifts every day, be rolling in 168 million one per week. Probably enough for daily lattes and luxury toilet paper. 1 month, each elite income. 1 year, he retire as a legend. He was already dreaming of gold-plated ramen. 1 month here and his expenses would be in hibernation for a while. It felt too perfect. Cue ominous background music. The bell chimed. A customer entered. Toothbrush request in Tao. Pretty standard. Just as he opened his mouth, something felt off. The customer repeated the question, eyes narrowing at Chan's stunned look. Plot twist. The customer had a full-on dog head, like bark and browse kind of dog. The dog-headed stranger snapped, ranting about stress, life, and the universal need for clean teeth. Chan, unfazed or just in shock, pointed silently to aisle 3. The creature grumbled about the delay and stomped off in search of dental salvation. Watching it grab a pack, Chan wondered if he'd wandered into a hidden movie set. No recent dog flicks came to mind, but the costume work deserved an award, or at least a viral clip. The grumpy mite returned, toothbrush in paw, clearly still in a mood. Chan named the price, 2,101 won. The irritable chihuahua didn't blink, just paid. As the dog turned to go, Chan noticed the overpayment and called out about the change. The dog shot back a snarl. Keep the change, don't talk, don't follow. Chan had officially seen it all. As the dog-headed customer vanished, Chan stood frozen, brain buffering at what he just witnessed. The costume had 0 seams or zippers, Hollywood-level weirdness for a toothbrush run. And that bark? 10/10 realism. Could have fooled a vet. Before Chan could recover, a new customer waddled in with a coin sack like it was pirate payday. The tiny gremlin type requested change, acting like this was a bank and not a snack shop. Chan blinked at the pint-sized goblin and silently questioned his life choices. He reached for his phone on instinct as the goblin demanded faster service with full gremlin energy. The call went straight to the manager. Emergency goblin exchange situation. Fast forward, coins counted, bills exchanged, goblin gone. Meanwhile, Chan slumped like melted ice cream, wishing for teleportation straight to his bed. He muttered to no one that this was real life, and he was officially losing it. The memory of 145 jangling coins confirmed it. Yep, that was 100% a goblin. The whole time, the goblin groaned like it was stuck in traffic and not waiting on a coin count. 20 minutes, 176 coins, 0 tips. The true test of patience. He called his manager again, certain his brain had exited the chat. A dog man and a goblin banker in one shift, totally bizarre. His boss, totally unfazed. Apparently, the neighborhood had a high concentration of magical weirdos, just a local feature. Chan cut in, questioning the logistics of a store needing teleportation. Was this Hogwarts with snacks? She calmly confirmed it. Yes, she's a mage. Yes, the store teleports. And no, this wasn't even the weird part. Turns out she cast the teleportation herself. Just another Tuesday for enchanted retail. That's why the store kept relocating pop-up shop, but with sorcery. She admitted she forgot to mention all this. Oops, small detail. She promised a full breakdown later, casually wondering why Chan looked like he'd just been abducted. When Chan peeked outside, it was a fantasy convention meets alien street fair. Animal people, glowing monsters, goblins on scooters. Chan's confusion hit maximum level. Time to update his reality software. The manager chuckled, insisting her earlier comment about him being from another world was a joke. Funny, not factual. Chan, overwhelmed and dead serious, revealed that her joke had accidentally nailed the truth. His explanation hit like a surprise final boss. No magic, no goblins, just plain old reality. The manager stared blankly, weighing her next move while Chan squinted at something outside. Through the glass, a tall, horned figure strolled up like it was just another grocery run. As the door creaked open, Chan dove straight into panic mode. He backed up and squatted by a snack shelf, hoping chips could double as a shield. The manager's voice crackled through the speaker, asking if he was still breathing. He whispered back, now suspicious. Was she even human? The horned customer casually browsed the aisles while the manager checked if he was still listening. He confirmed he was still alive, and she dropped the bomb. He'd somehow crossed over, but no clue how or why. Hidden behind the counter, Chan heard his boss admit this situation was at first super reassuring. Gathering some courage, he suggested step 1, figure out how to handle horned beings buying ramen. Just as she began to answer, the customer dropped to the floor, laughing like she'd seen a stand-up special. Chan gave a play-by-play, unsure if she was cursed or just had an intense sense of humor. The manager's tone turned serious, asking for a quick description. He reported the horns and tiny bat wings, great for cosplay, less great for normal retail. She instantly identified her as a succubus, mild threat level, more flirty than fiery. She told him to grab the curse detector, standard anti-chaos protocol. Apparently, the device was super flashy, so Chan began scanning for anything that looked like it belonged in a toy store. While digging through random items, he questioned the logic behind a rainbow-colored danger sensor. Then he found it, a blindingly pink wand that screamed, Princess Party, not emergency tool. He asked if the magical glitter stick was legit. She confirmed, yep, that's the one. She explained the psychology behind it. Cursed folks were moody, so cute colors helped. To use it, tap skin, press the button, and wait for sparkles or doom. Before he can blink, the horned customer appears at the counter, still rocking that unsettling energy. Despite her just wanting to buy snacks, Chan's brain screamed, this is how it ends. Silently, he grumbled at his boss for saying this kind of customer was not that dangerous. In his panic, his thumb slipped. Click. The wand shot out of his hand like a budget magic missile and bonked the succubus square on the forehead. The succubus dropped like a sack of potatoes, while Chan just stood there, stunned. Her groceries flew everywhere, cursed drama and instant noodles all over the floor. Chan, still gripping the wand like it was cursed itself, watched it glow bright pink. He finally moved, cautiously inspecting his very unconscious customer. Up close, she looked like she'd taken a nap in the middle of aisle 3. Full panic mode activated, he radioed in, convinced he'd just committed accidental magical manslaughter. After hearing the story, his boss paused, clearly not expecting the wand to go full offense mode. But instead of freaking out, she casually explained that was totally normal and asked what color it flashed. He mentioned it glowed violet. She advised grabbing a curse remedy, aisle 4, next to the energy drinks. Chan picked the first one he saw, read the weird name aloud, and checked if that was the right one. She confirmed and told him to give her 2 pills. Chan wondered if this was just magical homesickness. She clarified it was close enough and the meds would kick in fast. No copay needed. Chan noticed her twitch and let his boss know. Zombie revival? Hopefully not. Flashbacks of her demonic vibes played in his head as he cautiously attempted communication. Playing it safe, he kept his distance and called out like he was summoning a cat. He asked if she felt okay and gently recommended the mystery pills. When he turned back, the scary aura was gone. She now looked like someone who'd offer you gum. Mentally, he noted the vibe had shifted from horror movie to awkward sitcom. Just as he asked again, she clutched her mouth with that, ugh, face. He tried to stop her. Too late. The floor would never recover. The succubus promptly emptied her stomach like a soda can under pressure. She wiped her mouth, clearly feeling way better, like someone post-roller coaster nausea. With a refreshed look, she gave off spot A complete energy. Chan, eyeing the splatter zone, declared the party was over. In short, exit stage left, please and thank you. She ignored the hint entirely and stared back like she forgot who made the mess. Giving puppy eyes, she pointed at Chan, silently whining about the cold. Chan's face said it all. Part confusion, part why me? Then, mid-pout, she wobbled like a cartoon character and dropped again. He crouched down, only to find she dozed off like nap time came early. As he blinked in disbelief, a pale teen with snow hair strolled in, calling for management. Seeing Chan next to a passed-out girl, the new guy raised an eyebrow like he'd walked into a sitcom rerun. Chan, not even trying to fake a smile, asked if the customer was here to join the chaos. Completely unfazed, the pale teen asked if there were any 17-degree blood bags. While the vampire browsed, Chan updated his boss. Medicine was given, kind of, maybe after the new guy left. The boss shrugged it off and reminded him the fridge only had 15-degree packs, redirect if needed. She also told Chan to check ID first and casually asked if the kid was, in fact, a vampire. Chan guessed yes, and the boss launched into Vampire 101. Immortal, baby-faced, and always hungry. That's why their IDs need frequent refreshes, even if they look 17 forever. Some still flash expired X-marked IDs, which usually means they're legal, just outdated. Basically, thanks to the store's magic security, Chan could do ID checks without risking his soul. The vampire waved it off as no big deal, and Chan nodded like this was totally normal. As the pale kid stepped closer, Chan broke the news. Only 15-degree stock available, maybe try next door. The customer grabbed a drink instead, ready to pay, and Chan rattled off the price like a vending machine. Then, casually, he asked for a bag, and weirdly, a pack of smokes. Plot-pirate teens are edgy. Chan tilted his head, trying to figure out which smokes the pale kid wanted. The kid looked just as lost. Eventually, the boy pointed vaguely, as if picking candy at random. Chan scanned the shelf like a game show contestant, guessed the cigarette. The kid lit up when Chan's hand paused over a certain pack. Bingo, apparently. The requests kept coming, but something felt off. Chan's red flag radar buzzed. The boy scratched his head, trying to look chill. He looked guilty instead. Chan narrowed his eyes. Either this kid was hiding something or just really awkward. Time for the classic card check? Chan asked for ID. The kid fumbled his words, claiming his ID was expired, but totally being renewed. Chan shrugged, saying anything would do, as long as it proved age and wasn't sketched in crayon. The vampire huffed, asking for a pass, but Chan stuck to the rulebook. The card hit the counter with some dramatic flair. The boy barked for speed. Apparently his friends were outside, not agent. Chan studied the ID, grumbling how IDs here and in Fantasyland all had the same stubborn vibes. Yep, the seal had that unmistakable past due look. It looked okay, until a rainbow shimmer peeked from under the photo like a badly hidden cheat sheet. Suspicious now, Chan slowly peeled the photo like a sticker in a lunchbox. The second the photo lifted, a glowing orb burst out like someone hit the magic jackpot. Chan blinked in disbelief. This wasn't covered in employee training. The glowing ball had one mission: chase the vampire like a moth on a mission. The kid bolted, yelling as the beam chased him like he owed it money. He shouted accusations at Chan, who calmly pointed out that maybe he should know what kind of ID he carried. The vampire begged to undo it, but Chan just looked more confused than ever. In the chaos, the succubus napped like she was in a 5-star dreamland. The light dimmed, and beneath the sticker, Chan saw something mind-blowing. The real face behind the fake ID, a full-grown adult. Chan's eye twitched hard. Even the light seemed offended. Chan pointed out that the sticker was gone, and now the ID looked like it belonged to someone else entirely. He called out the ID as fake on sight. The vampire, meanwhile, clung to denial like it was part of the plan. Just then, Chan casually mentioned his boss was listening in, and yes, she caught everything and was ready to call backup. The vampire grabbed the bogus card and bolted like it was vampire track tryouts. Boss admitted the whole thing sounded like magical gibberish and asked for a recap. Chan agreed to spill. Chan explained he had a hunch the kid wasn't legal. Turns out, his spidey senses were spot on. She wondered how he caught it without the store's magic alarm chiming in. Chan said the ID had a literal sticker, not subtle. He added that the vampire slapped his own photo on someone else's ID. Removing it triggered a magic surprise box. Boss asked if he spotted that just by looking. Chan confirmed this wasn't his first illusion rodeo. She pointed out that IDs from their realm were tough nuts to crack. Tampering was almost impossible. Basically, anyone pulling this off had top-tier illusion skills, like the Hogwarts version of Photoshop. Chan asked if it was really that tricky. Boss admitted the alarm was selectively helpful, but usually right. She circled back to the real question. That's when it hit Chan. Everything had been one big illusion show. For a second, Chan wondered if the vampire was a big deal. Then he remembered the guy ran away from a light beam. Honestly, even the forgers probably didn't know what their own tricks were doing anymore. Out of nowhere, his boss asked if they should end his part-time gig. Chan blinked. Plot twist. He panicked instantly, thinking he'd messed up. But no, she thought he was doing great. She just figured a guy from another world might be slightly overwhelmed. To her surprise, Chan was totally chill about it. He explained that it wasn't scary or hard, just weird, and he actually liked the job. Chan quietly realized his boss might actually care. Unusual or not, he needed the gig. Next month without it, cardboard mansion. He pleaded to stay and she agreed, with a classic no takebacks warning. Chan nodded quickly, asking to keep the phone chat going. She was cool with it. Clearly, this shift needed supervision. His boss checked if he'd remembered the medicine run, and that's when it hit him. He totally hadn't. He scrambled to fix it, promising to get it done instantly. He gently dosed the powder into the girl's mouth. She stayed asleep, completely unbothered, like a napping cat. She continued snoozing like nothing in the world could touch her. He gave his update. Medicine delivered. 0 results. Boss wasn't too worried. Apparently it just needed time to kick in. Still, she warned him to brace for a wobbly wake-up. Nausea was likely. She asked if the succubus seemed dizzy, but he didn't see any sign of it, unless perfect stillness counted. She told him to whip out the wand and double-check for curses, just in case. Chan tried it, but the wand just whined like a hairdryer on low battery. The boss asked if things were getting worse. Chan shook his head. Status: weird, but stable. Apparently, the girl's body was in some kind of limited edition condition. Before he could ask what that even meant, a massive noise rocked the storefront. He grabbed a shelf for balance, wondering if the building was about to moonwalk. He dashed outside, half convinced the sky was hurling rocks for fun. What he found was definitely not a meteor. Instead, there was a mountain of boxes, delivery avalanche style. A voice casually called it a delivery, and sure enough, up in the sky, girl Pegasus, the whole mythological Amazon Prime. The writer assumed he was the part-timer her sister mentioned and jumped straight to pleasantries. Chan gave a quick wave and gestured for a pause while he called him back up. He updated his boss. Winged horse delivery had landed. Was this the logistics she talked about? She confirmed it. Yuna was in charge, but that only made him more confused. But the Pegasus pilot said her name was Suyuna and asked him to clear the doorway. Fast. Spooked but obedient, he zipped back into the store like it owed him rent. Then came the real horror, inventory checking. He agreed with the energy of someone accepting their fate. He glanced at the alien squiggles on the paper, then at the girl casually unloading boxes like it was laundry day. The boss told him to just sign it and not stress. The delivery list: snacks, drinks, and, oh yeah, dragon scales, apparently rare, but Yuna pulled it off. She tossed in that dwarf colleges love this stuff, then blinked. Wait, did his world not have dragons? He shot that down fast. No dragons, no magic, just plain reality. The boss teased that his world sounded more behind than their least updated kingdom. Chan asked for a break from the interdimensional judging, just in time to spot the succubus waking up. Inside, the clerk noted the succubus was finally awake. Progress! Time to settle the tab, now that his customer wasn't comatose. But then she dropped the question of the hour. What even is love? He helped her wobble to a cab like a true fantasy gentleman. She slumped into the seat, still hugging something like it held the meaning of life. He slipped her the receipt and the medicine she technically sleep-purchased. She looked dazed, so he reminded her to actually hold her stuff, unless she wanted to donate it to the cab. The driver raised a brow. Was this a post-party situation or what? Chan clarified, no alcohol, just cursed stuff. Medicine helped, but she still seemed emotionally scrambled. Meanwhile, she kept philosophizing. Love made 0 sense, even when it made all the sense. He muttered that love was just the ultimate limited edition item. That got her attention. She leaned in, demanding a better answer like he owed her emotional tax. He quickly backpedaled and asked her to forget it all. As the cab drove off, he breathed a sigh of relief, hoping this customer service saga was over. Just as he stretched in victory, someone thunked into the glass door like it owed them answers. Yuna emerged, clearly bugged by something, and it wasn't just glass-to-face trauma. He rushed over, wondering if a dragon scale bit her or something. She asked him to pull the dragon scales, claiming something was off. Watching from the counter, he saw her deep in a call with the boss, long enough for it to start looking serious. Yep, if the call had a soundtrack, it'd be dramatic violin. Definitely not just a missing snack box. Chan couldn't help but think back to his part-time waiter days when he'd see his boss and delivery guy bickering over spoiled goods. Chan figured there was little a part-timer could do about a defective product. He decided to sit back, let the pros handle it, and focus on his own work. Yona approached and asked if his name was really Lee Chan. He nodded in confirmation. She quickly added that her sister wanted to have a word with him. Yona flipped her phone around to show the boss's face, who asked Chan to inspect some dragon scales with Yuna. He hesitated but agreed. Chan stepped through a mysterious door behind the convenience store. He and Yuna walked through what could only be described as a dungeon. As he looked around, Chan couldn't help but wonder if this was even part of the convenience store anymore. As they moved deeper into the place, Chan puzzled over why the warehouse felt more like a dungeon. Yona asked if it was Chan's first time seeing the storage area. He answered with a quick yes. Yona chuckled, assuring him he'd get used to it, just like she did at first. Ko teased the manager, saying she'd warned her sister about her unusual taste, but the manager simply shrugged, claiming she decorated the store to suit her own style. Ko pointed out that there had to be limits, but the manager just pouted in response. They finally reached a room stacked with shelves and boxes. Yona mentioned how messy it was inside. Lisha paused while Chan nodded in agreement. On the phone with his boss, Chan mentioned he'd checked the storage room like she asked. He asked if there was anything more he could do. She told him to just follow her instructions. She had a plan. Chan glanced around, spotting a strange purple slime oozing from an object that looked like a scale. He stared at the goo, totally puzzled about what it could be. Baffled, Chan asked what the goo was. Yona explained it was pus. Yona explained that pus was a clump of contaminated magical energy, the result of improper purification of dragon scales. Chan pointed to the large, shell-like object and asked if it was a dragon scale. Yona confirmed it. She mentioned that discarded dragon scales from rural areas were often left unattended, so she rushed to bring them here. In her hurry and lack of trust in the professionals, this was the outcome. Q reassured them it wasn't too serious. If they purified the scales and removed the pus, they'd still be usable. The only issue was that it was already midnight and the company was closed. The boss finally spoke up, explaining she needed her employees' help, leaving Chan a bit puzzled. Yona casually asked if Chan wanted to touch the pus. Chan couldn't believe what he just heard. Was she seriously asking him that? Yona squatted, scooped up some of the slime, and urged Chan to touch it. She reassured him it was harmless and just needed a touch. His boss said she trusted him with the task, but Chan still hesitated, wondering what would actually happen if he touched it. Yona quickly sweetened the deal, offering him 100,001 if he did it. Chan, now intrigued, agreed without hesitation. Chan reached out for the pus, while Yona couldn't help but think how easy it was to convince him. But as he tried to touch it, the slime recoiled and repelled his hand. Staring at the strange goo, Chan couldn't help but wonder if it was alive. The manager explained it was impossible for it to be alive, just magical energy. Yona added that it was probably avoiding Chan, but the manager told him to ignore it and grab it anyway. So, Chan reluctantly did, gripping the gooey substance. Suddenly, a magical reaction triggered, and a light began glowing from the strange object. Chan and Yona stared in awe at the glowing object. The goo, once a hideous purple, suddenly turned into a stunning, petrified blue. Sia was stunned, exclaiming that it happened just like her sister had predicted. She called out for her sister to come see, amazed that it turned out exactly as expected. The manager, however, warned it was too soon to celebrate and asked Chan to place the wand on the stone. Chan followed her instructions, but when he touched the wand to the stone, nothing happened. He reported the lack of reaction, and the manager explained it was because there was no contaminated magical energy for the wand to detect. She added that the slime's reaction confirmed the purification was done right. Then she dropped a bombshell. Based on what she observed, Chan might have an anti-magical constitution, leaving him more confused than ever. Yona jumped in, explaining that it meant his body was immune to magic. The manager then said she needed to discuss something important with him. She asked if Chan remembered when they tested his body earlier with the wand. Chan nodded, recalling the loud noise. The manager responded that such a reaction only happened in 2 cases. The first case was when there's no magical power at all, which would be dangerous in their world. But since Lee was from another world, it didn't apply. The only explanation left? The testers are glitching out because of Lee's weird magical resistance. Chan gets confused, but the girl casually says it's part of her experiment, which is why he's stuck tagging along with Yuna. He promises more details once her sister's out of the picture, and Chan just nods, pretending this all makes sense. Mentally, Chan's still lost, especially since he found out on day 1 that his body reflects magic like a disco ball. He brushes it off, thinking this isn't some soap opera where he's the long-lost heir of a hidden realm. Out of nowhere, Yona pulls a classic wall slam, trapping Chan like she's auditioning for a K-drama villain. She says she has a favor, and cornered like a deer in headlights, Chan cautiously asks what she's planning. She humbly asks for help purifying dragon scales, calling it a personal favor, no pressure or anything. Chan looks horrified and asks if she's serious. Yona nods confidently, and then the manager jumps in to add backup. Glancing at her phone, Chan catches something wild. On screen, his boss looks like a puppy that missed 3 meals, silently pleading for help. In his head, Chan starts wondering if this whole family is really expecting him to handle this purification gig. Both sisters are staring at him like he's the chosen one, and honestly, it's starting to work. One look at Yona's sparkly eyes and his willpower starts crumbling like a stale cookie. He covers his eyes dramatically, declaring their combined stares are too blinding to handle. Finally caving, Chan agrees, but only if they explain how. The sisters instantly look like they just won the lottery. The blue-haired girl says it's super simple. All he has to do is stick his arm into a mysterious hole inside the dragon scale. Totally chill. Chan immediately regrets every choice that led him here. He backs out on the spot, and Yon is baffled by his sudden U-turn. He argues that shoving his arm into unknown magic sounds sketchy, but his boss insists his rainbow-resistant body makes him immune to disaster. She keeps begging, but Chan holds his ground. Courage isn't exactly included in his starter pack. Then the boss ups the stakes, flashing cash through the screen like a limited-time offer. Chan suddenly finds the bravery, funny how money does that, and says he'll do it, but he's definitely screaming if it hurts. As he steps closer, he mutters that the scale looks way nastier up close. Chan tells himself he needs the money and can handle it. Closing his eyes, he focuses, reminding himself it's all for the bonus as he plunges his arm into the scale. His arm is pulled into the scale, setting off some weird reaction. He pushes through, his entire arm swallowed by the strange goo. Yuna watches, concerned, and steps forward to check if he's okay. He reassures her he's fine, but mentions there's a force pulling him deeper. SEO tells him to hang on while she pulls him out, sounding urgent. Despite that, the scale keeps tugging him in. Chan notices the pus being sucked into the hole, while the glow spreads across the scale. Chan is suddenly yanked out, thrown back as radiant energy starts fixing the scales. The scale fully regenerates, reabsorbing all the pus and sealing the hole with a fresh shell. Getting back up, Chan mutters that the whole thing was a chaotic mess. He thinks to himself, what a disaster, especially for my first day, when suddenly someone calls out. Yona grumbles, having been hit when Chan pulled his arm out. Chan quickly apologizes and checks if she's alright. She assures him she's fine but asks if he's hurt. Chan says he's fine, and thanks to her, he didn't end up face first on the ground. Yona gets up and asks if he can check the dragon's scale. Chan agrees right away. He grabs the toy wand and cautiously touches the dragon's scale. Chan reports no reaction, just like with the rock, and Yuna cheers, declaring success. Yuna thanks Chan profusely, saying their success saved them tens of millions. Later, Yuna's on her Pegasus, reporting to her sister that Chan worked hard and the task was a success. Chan asks, puzzled, if Yuna doesn't come here every day. Yena explains that handling deliveries is tough and takes a lot of time. Chan wishes her a safe journey, but she yells at him to drop the formalities. Seo casually mentions that her sister, the manager, said Chan's a year older than her. She encourages him to call her Nuna, and he reluctantly agrees to give it a shot. He hesitantly calls her Nuna, and she adjusts her glasses before soaring off on her Pegasus. As the sun rises, Yuna takes off, promising to see him again soon. Yuna flies off into the sky, leaving Yona to watch her disappear into the dawn. Chan glances around and realizes it's finally morning. Hours later, a creature with animal-like hands places items on the counter at the store. A kobold, part human, part dog, urges Chan to hurry as she's about to miss her bus. Chan quickly totals the items, and the kobold leaves a bill, telling him to keep the change. Chan watches the kobold leave, still puzzled by the encounter. Turning around, he calls for the next customer, and the line reveals an eclectic mix of species. Time passes, and Yuna finishes helping all the customers. Eventually, Chan complains about being totally exhausted after staying up all night. He gets a message from his boss asking if he's feeling sleepy. Chan assures her he's fine, and she praises him for his hard work on the purification task, promising his payment soon. Suddenly, the store bell rings, but when Chan looks, no one's there. He wonders if the customer just popped in and out without a word. Chan tells his boss he doesn't sleep much, and she offers a sleeping potion, surprising him. Just then, he hears someone calling his name, but sees nothing. Standing up, he spots something that leaves him shocked. He spots a little girl with white horns and an angelic look, asking if he has colored paper. She also asks if he has scissors to go with the paper. Chan tells her the items are on a high shelf and offers to grab them for her. The girl declines politely, thanking him for offering. She heads to the shelf Chan pointed to, and he watches her curiously. As the girl struggles to reach the paper, Chan notes how mature she seems despite her pale skin. Chan wonders if she might be some kind of reptile with her appearance. The girl keeps trying to grab the paper, but she's just too short. When she starts tearing up, Chan quickly steps out from behind the counter to help. He grabs the materials she wanted and moves to hand them over. Chan hands her the paper, saying he got what she asked for. The girl, eyes welling up with tears, thanks him for his kindness. Chan notices the girl's dragon-like features and briefly worries about a potential fire-breathing incident, definitely not ideal for a store. The girl glances at the price, her face falling as she admits she can't afford the items. Chan asks why, and she explains she only has 5,001 and doesn't want to owe 101. Feeling sympathetic, Chan offers to cover the small difference, since the total is 5,101. The girl refuses, citing her mother's rule about never accepting money, but Chan, curious, asks what she needs the paper and scissors for. Shyly explains that with Mother's Day coming up, she really wants to give her mom a special gift. She recently learned about Mother's Day at kindergarten and, though her mom always buys her gifts, she's never given her mom one. This year, she wants to change that. Chan's heart softens hearing her story. Chan suggests making origami without scissors, but the girl extends her hands, shaking her head. Puzzled, Chan asks her what's wrong with her hands. She reveals her claws, and Chan grows concerned. She explains that her claws tear paper, realizing her sharp talons could rip through anything. Chan understands that origami would be tough with her claws, and figures she'd never accept his offer to pay. Wanting to help, Chan decides to lend her the store scissors, sketches flowers on paper, and asks her to try cutting along the lines. The half-dragon girl beams, grateful for his help, and thanks him repeatedly. Chan thinks to himself that this has become more of a task than he expected. His shift's over, yet he's still helping her with everything. He wonders why a little kid should have to go to such lengths just to give her mom a gift. He remembers that the manager will be there soon, wondering how he'll explain the situation. The girl suddenly asks for a moment. She returns with a chocolate bar asking the price. After Chan scans it, she happily pays the 2,001. Chan tells her she can enjoy the chocolate whenever, but notices she's doing something a little odd. The girl breaks the chocolate in half and hands a piece to Chan. She insists they share the chocolate while making origami for her mom. Chan appreciates the gesture but insists she should have the bigger piece. The girl argues that since he's bigger, he deserves it. The girl remembers her mom's warning about too much chocolate rotting her teeth. She keeps insisting Chan share the chocolate, determined not to eat it alone. Chan finally gives in, taking half the chocolate bar. The manager arrives, greeting Chan with a bright, cheerful good morning. She notices Chan, tired from his all-nighter, but stops mid-sentence when she sees him eating chocolate and helping the little girl with origami. Chan greets her back and she asks about the girl. Chan explains that the store was quiet, so he lent the girl the scissors to make a gift. He apologizes, explaining that the girl couldn't afford the scissors, so he figured it'd be a quick task, but it took longer than planned. The manager reassures him, saying it's fine, then asks if the girl seems shy. Chan nods, saying kids her age can be a bit shy. The manager nods, then reveals the girl is from a very special species. The girl, it turns out, is a pure-blood dragon. Dragons spend 3 years growing inside their eggs before being born, according to the manager. During this time, their bodies develop and their horns begin to form. Those horns detect magical power. While adult dragons don't have this issue, young dragons struggle a lot with it. Young dragons see magic as colors through their horns, but they can't control it yet. They often detect magic unconsciously, which can make it hard to judge people based on color, and dangerous too. The manager explains that a young dragon's experiences help them judge character, not just appearance. Chan asks if this makes it dangerous, and she confirms. Dragon parents are extra protective of their young, especially purebloods raised with stricter rules. The girl proudly shows off her paper flower to Chan, declaring it's ready. The manager approaches and compliments the little dragon for her impressive work. Suddenly, the girl bolts, hiding behind Chan, looking both wary and a bit offended by the manager's presence. The manager tells herself it's probably just a misunderstanding. She gently explains to the girl that Chan needs to go home for rest after working all night. The girl hesitates, and the manager asks if she can come back later. The little dragon looks at Chan, who meets her gaze, both unsure what's next. Chan suggests she leave her project here and come back tomorrow to finish her origami. The girl, eyes bright with hope, asks if that's really okay. The manager reassures her, saying she's always welcome to visit anytime. The girl beams and thanks Chan right away. Then, remembering the manager, she thanks her too, calling her ma'am, which makes the manager wince. Chan notices his boss looks suddenly irritated. Maybe it's the ma'am comment. Irritated, the manager asks the girl to call her sister instead, and the little dragon quickly agrees. Chan wisely decides not to mention her age, definitely not the moment for that. After the little dragon leaves, the manager starts closing up, humming softly. The manager hums as Chan stands there, a little puzzled by the day's events. The manager asks Chan to open a drawer. He asks which one, and she explains, making him nod in understanding. Chan wonders what his manager has planned as he opens the drawer. Inside, he finds a glowing globe, and the manager explains it's a teleportation machine. It's used to move their store to new locations. Chan, intrigued, comments that it looks like both magic and futuristic tech rolled into one. The manager proudly claims she built it herself. She warns him not to mess with it carelessly. It controls where the store can set up shop. If he presses the wrong button, the store could move and the products will change. Chan nods, understanding. The manager says it's easy, he just needs to enter his home address into the screen. Confused, Chan asks if that's really all, and she confirms. She explains she usually handles it, but if she does, there's a chance they won't end up in Chan's world. She adds that teleportation magic needs clear destination info and strong intent. If you haven't been somewhere or don't really want to go, it won't work. Since she doesn't know Chan's world, she can operate it properly, he's the best bet. Chan, a little hesitant, remembers his manager's explanation. While she's confident it'll work, he wonders if his body, which repels magic, will mess it up. Unfazed, the manager reassures him to just trust her, and with her excitement, he figures he should at least give it a try. Chan convinces himself his manager isn't into weird pranks, and asks again if all he needs to do is type his home address into the screen. The girl confirms in a slightly eerie tone, urging him to desperately focus on wanting to return home. She adds that as long as he truly wants to return, it'll work, good or bad memories. As Chan types his address, he thinks back to his world. Tough, betrayed by his old company, but also filled with happy memories. Just as his mind drifts, he hears his manager calling him. She asks him to step outside and check if it worked. Chan checks and confirms it worked. She shrugs, unsure, and says that's why she asked him to verify. Chan steps outside, opening the door to an unbelievable sight, the familiar city he knows so well. He takes a look around, realizing it's his neighborhood. He's amazed. It's like he teleported back in an instant. The manager joins him, smiling. That confirms everything, she says. She explains that Chan can influence his physical constitution with his will. The girl asks what he was thinking when he purified the dragon's scale, and he says he thought it was for the best. The manager explains that if his magical resistance had been absolute, the magic in the scale would have been destroyed, making it useless. Essentially, the purification worked because Chan's intent aligned with his constitution. Chan, confused, asks if she based all this on a hypothesis. She cheerfully confirms without it, nothing would have worked. In the end, it's clear, Chan can control his magical resistance with his will. The manager believes this is why he ended up at her store. She mentions she needs more time to figure it out and asks if Chan has questions. He shakes his head and she hands him an envelope with money and a magical sleeping potion, telling him he's free to leave. Chan heads out, walking to his small, empty, and somewhat worn-out apartment. He looks around, realizing this is truly his home. Yep, he's back in the place he used to live. He figures he'll need to work that night and sets an alarm. As he pulls out his phone, he spots the magical sleeping potion his manager gave him. He wonders if the potion will actually work. Surprised, she really went all out for him. After setting the alarm, he sits on the bed, reassuring himself that since his manager made it, it'll definitely work. He takes the potion, wondering if he'll sleep too deeply to hear his alarm. Before he knows it, he's awake, the alarm blaring in his face. He fumbles for his phone, hoping it'll stop. Checking the screen, he realizes it's only been a minute. Beep, the potion worked. Stretching, he heads to work. Stretching, he heads to work. Surprised by how well he slept. Everything really happened. It wasn't just a dream. Wondering if the convenience store is still in the same spot, he's shocked to find it right in front of him. The store's lights are on, and Chan is genuinely impressed. As he opens the door, he's sure now it's real, not a dream, but then he wonders if he's the only one who can see it. A bald, pointy-eared person keeps arguing with the manager over the price of some drinks. The manager, her expression blank and tired, listens to his complaints, clearly irritated. The drunk elf keeps going on, oblivious to the disturbance, while the manager's irritation grows. The elf begs the manager to let him stay and drink, and Chan can't help but wish it were a dream. The manager firmly reminds the elf that drinking inside the convenience store is a big no-no. She tells him to pay for the soju and enjoy it at home instead, which only makes the bald elf more furious. The elf yells, asking why it's illegal, claiming it should be fine to drink in a place that sells alcohol. Chan steps in, explaining that convenience stores are technically restaurants by law, which is why drinking inside is a no-go. He adds that drinking outside is off-limits too, so the elf should just pay for the drink and enjoy it at home. The manager asks when Chan arrived. He replies it wasn't long ago, noting that she's been working hard. Before she can respond, the elf shouts, asking who Chan thinks he is, interfering out of nowhere. Chan calmly says he's an employee, which only fuels the elf's indignation as he asks how Chan dares address a customer. "You're just an employee," the elf exclaims, clearly annoyed. The elf starts playing the victim, accusing Chan of mocking him because he's an elf and claiming Chan looks down on him. The elf starts shouting that they're both mocking him because they're humans, while Chan tries explaining he didn't mean any harm. In a dramatic move, the elf throws himself on the floor, wailing that Chan is prejudiced against him. Rolling around, the elf cries out dramatically, calling it heartbreaking, while Chan urges him to stop. It's getting dangerous. The elf continues sobbing while Chan tries to calm him down. Finally, the manager, looking exhausted, presses a red button. Not long after, a police car pulls up to the convenience store. A wolf-like officer leads the handcuffed elf to the car, looking unimpressed. Another officer, an elf, takes the manager's statement and asks if the elf didn't pay for his drink. After confirming the story, the manager says she can show the records to the officer and leads her to a back room. The officer enters the room, assuring the manager it's all good and that she'll return after reviewing the records. The manager tells her to take her time. Back at the counter, Chan tells his boss that elves in this world are nothing like what he imagined. The manager asks what elves are like in Chan's world, and he explains they're considered noble and beautiful. Chan admits he always thought of elves as highly refined, but this incident definitely left him disappointed. The manager responds that elves were once a noble species, before the war changed everything. She explains that decades ago, their world saw huge scientific advancements. Thanks to humans, many technological artifacts were developed to make life easier for all species. Other species welcome the new advancements, finding their lives much more comfortable thanks to science and technology. But, wanting even more comfort, they started developing provinces, which led to nature being destroyed in the process. Most species were happy, as their daily lives became way easier. But one species wasn't having it, the elves. They were upset, watching their natural homes being destroyed. Eventually, the discontent turned into a full-blown war. Chan asks if it all started because of the technology. The manager confirms, explaining that elves, being nature-loving, couldn't tolerate all the destruction. The elves destroyed many buildings which made the other species resentful. They had to pick sides between humans and elves. It was a choice, follow humans and advance, or stick with the elves and keep things as they were. The decision was made quickly, and they all sided with the humans. Even with everyone fighting together, the elves were too many. The war dragged on for ages, and after reparations, both elf and human numbers had significantly decreased. Chan asks what happened to the elves after the war, and the manager explains that the survivors faced discrimination and harsh oppression. Although things have gotten better recently, she asks if the elf police officer who checked the cameras is the same one Chan remembers. He confirms she is. The manager notes that the elf probably worked hard for that job, even going so far as dyeing her hair blonde and black. She says that if any customers are elves, Chan should treat them kindly, but Chan wonders if he should still be nice to the rude ones. The manager quickly responds that he doesn't have to. She adds that if a customer yells or curses, Chan should just walk away. No need to take that kind of abuse. Chan tells his boss it's time for her to leave since her shift's over, but she says she'll stay until the police officer returns. The elf officer returns from checking the records, and the manager thanks her for her hard work. The manager asks if she can talk to the officer on her way home, and the officer happily agrees. The elf officer says they'll take the suspect with them for now, and that punishment will be decided after hearing the full story. Before leaving, the manager tells Chan he can message her if anything happens. The elf officer thanks Chan for his cooperation. Chan asks if the elf will return safely. As soon as they leave, Chan collapses over the counter, completely exhausted. By day 2 of his part-time job, Chan already feels drained, realizing he'll need to adjust fast if he doesn't want to burn out. Just then, the door swings open as a customer walks in. A well-dressed man steps up, questioning if Chan is seriously getting distracted at work. Chan quickly realizes it's the Chihuahua from yesterday, and the dog orders him to get up immediately. Chan wonders if he should just kick the dog out, like his boss had suggested earlier. Trying to stay professional, Chan asks if the Chihuahua is looking for something specific, to which the dog demands to know where the toothpaste is. Chan points to the shelf, explaining that the toothpaste is right where the toothbrush was yesterday. The dog, clearly irritated, snaps at Chan, questioning why he's talking like that, and if he's going to keep working in such a way. Manhwa demands a proper, sincere explanation of where the items are. Chan, barely keeping it together, gestures for the dog to follow him as he shows him where the toothpaste is. Chan leads him to the shelf, telling the dog he can pick whichever toothpaste he wants. The dog then asks which toothpaste is the best one. Chan, exhausted, admits he has no idea. The dog grumbles, pointing out that Chan works there and doesn't even know the products. He adds that customers only buy if the employee promotes them well. Chan, annoyed but quick on his feet, spots something and gets an idea. He suggests the dog take advantage of a buy one get one free offer. The Chihuahua scoffs, saying he doesn't need 2 tubes of toothpaste, but Chan counters that since one is free, it's a good deal. The dog stares at the offer, still irritated but considering it. After a moment of thought, the dog walks to the counter and slaps a bill down, deciding to pay. Chan rings up the total, adding a 101 bag fee, asking if the dog wants one. The Chihuahua agrees. As they finish up, the dog spots something else and quickly grabs it off the shelf. The dog decides to buy that too, and Chan tells him the new total is 6,301. Chan remembers the buy one get one deal and mentions it, but the dog again insists he doesn't need 2 tubes. The dog suggests Chan keep the extra tube. After handing over the change, Chan asks if he's really allowed to keep it, but the dog insists he can. Chan, however, refuses, saying the dog bought it, not him. The dog shrugs, saying it's none of his business. After that, the dog leaves the store, leaving Chan scratching his head in confusion. Chan secretly hopes Shikahoa isn't irregular. Dealing with him once was enough. Chan starts piecing things together, realizing the dog probably works nearby, and wonders what he'd do if the guy showed up every day. Just then, someone else walks in. Chan's surprised, but quickly puts on his best customer service face. He blinks in surprise. It's the same succubus from yesterday. His stomach drops as he recalls the wildness of their last encounter. He's definitely scared now. The succubus, as calm as ever, asks if Chan also sells resignation letters. As she browses, Chan quickly calls his boss to let her know the succubus from yesterday is back. His boss asks about her condition, and Chan replies she's had a little to drink, but seems much sweeter today. His boss tells him to check her with a curse detector, and if all's good, just leave her be. Chan promises to call his boss if anything seems off. Hanging up, Chan wonders if he should brace himself for another wild show from her. Remembering his bonus, Chan steels himself, deciding he'll work hard and accept that money with pride. Chan steps up to the succubus, politely asking for her attention and telling her he'll need to use the curse detector if she plans on staying. She agrees without hesitation, asking Chan to touch the device to her hand, which she promptly offers. Grateful, Chan thanks her, and she apologizes for the chaos of the previous day, looking a bit embarrassed. Chan asks if she's referring to the rainbow ice cream incident, and she quickly begs him to never bring it up again. She hides her face, explaining she went a bit crazy from overusing magic at work and sincerely apologizes. Curious, Chan asks about her job, and she reveals she works at a pharmaceutical company that makes love potions. Chan, a bit confused, asks if love potions aren't usually made by magicians. She explains that when it comes to love potions, succubi are the best, hands down. She adds that succubi are natural charmers, being the species closest to love itself. As a result, they work in companies making love-related potions and remedies. Or they work as love therapists, helping people with relationship problems. She's just part of the pharma side of things. Since her work didn't go well yesterday, she made a mess and apologizes again, clearly embarrassed. Chan finds succubi pretty fascinating. Talk about a whole new level of charm. But something feels off, so Chan asks why she's thinking about quitting when she was earlier looking for a resignation letter. He mentions that her job seems to suit her, but he's curious about why she wants to leave. The succubus, eyes teary, admits she's never dated anyone, and, as a result, has no clue what love really is. Chan raises an eyebrow, pointing out that, well, she's a succubus. She insists that, precisely because she's a succubus, she should understand love better than anyone. But she explains that she focused so much on her studies, romance just never happened. She admits she's still trying hard since it's her first job, but not understanding love has made things tough. She adds that she's asked her colleagues about love, but they all say different things, and now she doesn't know who to trust. She feels that maybe this job isn't the right fit for her, and that's why she was searching for a resignation letter. Chan realizes she's really troubled by this, and to himself comments how he only meant to check if she was okay, yet somehow got an earful. He encourages her, reminding her that everyone struggles when starting their first job. He assures her it's not the end of the world and not to think of it as something bad. The girl then admits she came in because she remembered what Chan said. This throws him off for a second. Suddenly, it clicks in Chan's head. She's talking about what he said in the taxi. Chan awkwardly admits he just said it without thinking much about it. The succubus stands up, clearly shocked by his words. She explains that everyone says love is supposed to be easy, pleasant, and joyful, but to her, that's both annoying and harmful. Chan was the only one who said something different, and it stuck with her because it was a totally new perspective. She asks him to explain what he meant by his words and what his thoughts on love really are. She insists he really needs to answer. She's all ears. Chan notices those sparkling eyes and suddenly feels like he's been here before. He quickly apologizes, admitting he spoke without really understanding love, just a random comment that came out. He adds, in full honesty, that he's never dated anyone himself. The succubus, hearing this, is completely confused and asks, why? He awkwardly admits his face is too boring for anyone to notice him. They exchange a long, confused look, both feeling pretty embarrassed. Chan quickly turns his face, hoping to avoid further awkwardness. Inside, Chan begs himself to stop rambling and wishes the succubus would just leave already. The succubus opens her phone's notes app, saying everything's ready for their chat to begin. She pauses to clarify a few things before they start, preparing him for the interview. She assures him that whatever he shares will stay between them, no leaks. She adds that the info will just help her respond better to his questions and nothing else. Chan stares at her, realizing he's got nothing valuable to offer about love, given he's been single for 29 years. He figures he can't help her much, so he suggests she try a relationship instead of just interviewing people about love. The succubus looks confused, and Chan sheepishly admits that people probably already tried to set her up with someone. He asks if she's ever been in that situation, and she admits she has, but she avoided it because she was terrified. She explains that when she joined her company, she studied love a lot, and every book and person made it sound like this grand thing. But love is so hard to grasp, and she realizes everyone has different takes on it. Suddenly, a thought hits her. She wonders if love is actually different from what she expected. The more she thought about it, the more scared she got, and she started avoiding relationships altogether. She laughs nervously, saying it's strange since succubi aren't supposed to fear love. Chan reassures her it's not strange. Everyone fears the unknown, especially emotions like love, which can be super complicated. He suggests she take it lightly, since her work involves love, but she's confused by that. He admits that while love is supposed to be great, he doesn't quite agree. She asks why, and he explains that his view on love changed after seeing his friend get married. He shares that when his friend was dating, he bragged nonstop about his girlfriend, calling them soulmates. But after they got married, they started seeing each other's flaws, which led to constant fights. Eventually, his friend regretted the marriage. The succubus comments that it's such a shame. Chan agrees, adding that his friend used to claim he loved everything about his girlfriend while they were dating. He says it's not just his friend. Looking around, it seems like love changes when circumstances do, but big things like love shouldn't change that easily. But love does change, since it's shaped by all kinds of emotions. Chan suggests she try a relationship, but to keep it light. He warns her about two types of dangerous love. One-sided love, where one person is all in and the other isn't, and love from afar, where feelings are hidden, leaving the other person clueless. He adds that both types are dangerous because they leave emotional scars on everyone involved. Chan calls them greedy, one-sided emotions because love is supposed to be a two-way street. He believes love only counts when both people share feelings and build a relationship together. He advises her to avoid those toxic types of love and look for something more comfortable and balanced. The girl, feeling a little uncertain, wonders if she's capable, but Chan confidently tells her she's got this, calling her very attractive. He jokes, it might sound rude, but honestly, I don't think many guys would turn you down. He encourages her to be confident and just go for it. If it gets tough, she can always stop. Chan quickly realizes he's probably said enough. Chan awkwardly apologizes for all the advice, admitting he's never been in a relationship himself. To his surprise, the girl's happy about it and reassures him it's fine. She reveals she's never dated anyone either, though she's busy making love potions instead. She adds that it's easier to connect with someone who hasn't dated, but Chan gets a bit uncomfortable with the focus on him. He changes the subject, asking if she's ready for work, and she realizes it's time for the first bus. She thanks him for listening as she heads out, and he hands her a small red box, something to ease a hangover. She asks why she's getting it, and Chan explains it's to help her day go smoother at work. The girl gratefully accepts the box, thanking him as she leaves. Right before leaving, she asks if she can come back sometime, and Chan nods. Later, as Chan gets ready for his shift, the manager asks if he's sure about wanting the succubus to return. He nods, confirming it. His manager warns him not to be so quick to welcome customers like her next time. She cautions him to be careful around succubi, who can get dangerously obsessed. If he gets too involved, trouble could follow, and Chan promises to keep that in mind. The manager mentions not seeing the pure-blooded dragon girl today, and Chan guesses she's probably still busy. Suddenly, they hear a loud crash and turn to see what happened. Chan asks what the noise was, and the manager guesses it was something metal. They step outside to find a fallen bicycle, and the manager checks if anyone's hurt. To their surprise, the one who fell off is a metal doll, and the manager asks if he's okay. The robot assured everyone he was fine, tossing out a quick thanks for the concern. As the store owner helped him up, he pointed out that the metal clanging didn't exactly scream, "Fine." The robot offered a quick apology for the scare and thanked the girl for the assist. Curious, the woman asked why he fell, and Chan spotted something odd. The robot explained that the pedal jammed unexpectedly, no clue what happened. Chan jumped in, explaining that the chain came off, leaving the robot and manager a bit lost. The manager blinked, still unsure. He explained that a twisted chain was the culprit, then got to work fixing it, walking everyone through the process. A few minutes later, Lee had the bike working again, impressing both the robot and his manager. The manager praised Lee's skills, while the robot thanked him for the quick fix. The manager beamed, calling Chan a jack of all trades. Chan, with a grin, explained it was just because he'd ridden bikes a ton in the past. The robot handed Chan a small card, thanking him and offering his help anytime. Chan and his manager exchanged looks when they realized the robot ran monster hunting business. Chan hesitated, not sure if he wanted to accept. The robot insisted on returning the favor before riding off on his bike. The manager waved goodbye, telling him to ride safely. The boss reminded Chan to head home and rest. Things would be tough tomorrow. Chan barely nodded, still processing. The girl casually mentioned tomorrow was Friday, and suddenly Chan's face dropped. Chan confessed, a bit embarrassed, that he'd forgotten. It had been forever since he worked at a convenience store. Then, the realization hit. Friday was party day for workers. Chan started explaining how it's the wildest day of the week at convenience stores. It's the day when everyone blows off steam from the week. Guess how? Alcohol, of course. Alcohol stores rake it in, and convenience stores aren't far behind. But the customers, oh, they're special. Just then, an elf stumbled to the floor, clearly hammered, while someone else set up for an impromptu karaoke session. The boy grabbed a drink like a mic and launched into a horrible off-key rendition. The noise continued until someone with wings flew by, taking a moment to glance at the chaos. A half-bird girl twirled around, dancing to the chaotic, drunken noise. Chan, trying to keep it together, stood back, watching the madness unfold. Lee wore an expression that screamed, "I'm over this," but said nothing. Out of nowhere, someone grabbed the bottle from the singer and took the snacks from another guy, who spilled everything while trying to stay calm, but clearly losing it. Chan, keeping his cool, reminded them that while he understood they were feeling good, they still needed to pay first. A scream cut through the noise, and Chan's head snapped toward the sound. It was the bird girl again. She suddenly threw herself onto Chan, leaving him absolutely stunned. The two other drunk customers froze, wide-eyed, at the spectacle. In a surprisingly graceful move, Chan caught her like they were performing a rehearsed dance. The drunk girl declared she was now a swan, and Chan silently begged her to fly home. Struggling to stay upright with her in his arms, Chan mentally pleaded for her to stop, leave, and just go home. A deafening crash shattered the air, and in came a bull barreling through the entrance door. The bull, drunk and utterly unbothered, staggered to its feet with a piece of glass stuck on its horn. The bull looked around, confused, while Chan, now desperate, released the bird girl. Chan stared in disbelief at the shattered door, while the bull still wondered where it had just crashed. With a tear in his eye, Chan mumbled to himself. The bull crashed into the glass door. Later, Chan was on the phone with his boss, looking absolutely defeated. The woman asked if he was okay, and he just asked for help in return. The woman, lying in bed, looked totally drained and apologized. She added that she felt like she was about to drop dead from exhaustion. She covered her face with her hands and explained that today was extra tough because of the weird customers. She started recounting how a goblin man tried to split his payment across multiple cards, holding up the line. To make matters worse, an elderly woman cut the line, sparking a full-blown argument with the goblin. The two shouted at each other, fighting over who would pay first, while the manager attempted to calm things down. She mentioned that demanding customers were usual for Fridays, but today, extra tough. Chan thought the manager must have had a rough day too. Nothing could be done. Still, the woman asked if he was really okay. Chan wondered why she was asking, and the woman explained she thought he looked wiped out yesterday. Chan glanced at the door, remembering he'd patched it up with cardboard for now. His manager, noticing the silence, asked if something had happened. Chan hesitated, then sheepishly confessed. Turns out, a minotaur had smashed the door. The woman's eyes widened in panic. She rushed to ask if he was okay, and Chan assured her he was perfectly fine. Chan went on to explain he already had the minotaur's details and had done a quick fix, so there was no need to worry. Silence followed, and Chan thought the girl must be really shocked that the door was broken. He wondered if he had shocked her too much by saying it. Then the girl spoke up, saying she needed to find a tool for him. Chan was left confused, asking what she meant. Chan asked why, and the girl explained she'd been thinking about it and would find something to help him as soon as possible. Chan tried to stop her, saying she didn't have to bother, but the girl explained that everyone in this world had magical powers. She added that each species had unique traits, like elves living long and staying youthful, or succubi being masters of charm. She continued, saying that with all these abilities around, Chan was at the highest risk since he was from a different world. Fortunately, she said, Chan had an anti-magic constitution and could control it, giving him some protection. She warned that while it could protect him from magic, it wouldn't help against extreme powers, and he wasn't exactly tough either. So she'd find a tool to keep him safe without making it hard on him. Chan nodded, promising to look forward to it. She then wished him luck for the rest of his shift and set off to find equipment. Chan reflected on how kind his manager was, genuinely caring for him despite him being just an employee. He decided he'd at least buy her something with his first paycheck, just a small thank you. Just then, a customer walked in, greeting Chan politely. Chan quickly welcomed him, asking how he could help. The man asked for a pack of blue cigarettes, and Chan swiftly turned to grab them. As Chan reached to hand over the cigarettes, he caught sight of a massive scar on the man's hand. Chan was taken aback, apologizing for reacting. He'd never seen a scar like that before. The man reassured him, saying it wasn't something people saw every day. Then Chan noticed the man had dog-like ears, and the man chuckled, saying people often reacted that way out of curiosity. The man asked if he could rest for a bit while waiting, and Chan agreed, thinking this was the most polite middle-aged guy he'd ever met. Chan pointed him to a spot to rest, and the man thanked him before heading over. Before settling in, the man excused himself and checked his phone. Chan noticed the customer typing away on his phone for a while and wondered if he was busy. Based on the guy's suit and the time, he guessed he was pulling overtime. After a moment, Chan boldly guessed the guy worked in finance and asked if he was checking stocks. The customer shook his head, revealing he wasn't checking stocks, but something for his other job. Curious, Chan asked about the man's job, and the wolf explained he drove for a living. The wolf turned his phone around, showing a driver app to prove it. Outside, several cars were stuck in a traffic jam. Chan couldn't help but comment to himself about how many cars were stuck in the mess. He glanced at the man, noticing he looked like a cobalt knight quietly checking his driving app. Chan realized that tonight's customer was just a polite guy, and for once, things felt calm after the earlier chaos. Chan, feeling cheerful, wished every day could be this peaceful. Then, the customer stood up, excusing himself. The man pulled up a map app on his phone and asked Chan if he knew a specific location. Chan apologized, explaining he was new to the area and didn't know much. The customer nodded, saying that was good to know. The customer added he'd just started driving too, and Chan asked if the job was easy. Chan replied it was until the previous day, when a minotaur smashed the door, leaving him wiped out. The customer chuckled, admitting he'd been wondering about the door. Just then, a loud crash outside startled both of them. Chan peeked outside, wondering what happened, and saw two cars had collided. It was an accident between two orcs, with a tiny kobold in one of the cars, looking terrified. One of the orcs was furious, questioning how the other even got a license, and soon they were arguing. The dog driving behind them looked utterly terrified as the chaos escalated. Chan, standing outside with the wolf, was completely baffled by the scene. Chan muttered to himself that he might as well be watching orc fights as part of the job. This argument was getting intense. Watching the orcs bicker, Chan thought they should probably call the insurance company before things got worse. Passers-by muttered that orcs were always like this, ignorant and ready to fight. Despite the chaos, everyone just kept walking by. Chan couldn't help but remark how strange this world was. The wolfman asked if Chan wouldn't have any problems, and Chan wondered why. The wolfman explained that with orcs fighting outside, no one would want to come in. Chan realized he was right. Everyone was too busy watching the fight to come in. Things were looking rough for business, and the mess outside could make it worse. But then the wolfman stepped up, saying he'd take care of the orcs. With a loud call, he interrupted the fight, making the orcs pause and turn toward him. With a cheerful tone, he commented on how energetic they were but suggested they stop fighting and clear the street instead. The orcs weren't thrilled to hear the old wolf's advice and stomped toward him, clearly annoyed. One orc snapped, telling the wolf to stay out of it, saying an old wolf should mind his business. The wolf, now furious, clenched his fist and punched the orc right in the face. The orc staggered and started to fall from the punch, while the others stood frozen in shock at what just happened. Chan and the rest of the onlookers from all different races stood there stunned by the scene. One of the green orcs, seeing his friend knocked out, demanded to know why he suddenly passed out. Enraged, the orc charged at the old wolf, ready to take him down. The orc swung at the wolf, shouting about what he did, but the wolf remained oddly calm. With expert skill, the wolf dodged the punch, stepping back and pivoting on his feet. In one swift move, he delivered a solid kick to the orc's neck with the back of his heel. After dropping both orcs, the wolf remarked that they finally seemed subdued. The wolf called over the trembling kobold, who had been hiding behind his car, startled by the whole scene. The wolf told him the troublemakers were calm now, so he could call the police and insurance. The kobold nodded, thanking him over and over. Chan, still stunned by what he'd just seen, asked the wolf what he used to do before becoming a driver, and, for that matter, what species the wolf actually was. The wolf raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised by the question. The wolf explained he was a werewolf, though it was hard to tell since it wasn't a full moon. As for his old job, he shrugged and said he used to do this and that. Now, though, he was just a retired old man. Chan thought to himself that this guy seemed pretty cool, in a mysterious, retired but still awesome kind of way. Chan couldn't help but think that the scar on the wolf's hand and his fighting style suggested a dark past, but the wolf just reminded him that he still had to work. Later, some patrol cars arrived at the scene, and the wolf thanked Chan for letting him take a rest in the shop. Chan shrugged, saying it was nothing, and then asked if the wolf had a business card, since a lot of drunk customers came in. Chan added that if they ever needed a driver, he'd like to know if they could contact the wolf. The wolf happily agreed. Not long after, the wolf thanked Chan and handed him a business card. Later, Chan found himself back at the convenience store, staring at the card in his hand. As he examined it, Chan thought it seemed like just a regular business card, nothing too suspicious. At least it didn't look like the fake ID he'd found a few days ago, which had definitely been suspicious. The wolf didn't seem like a scammer at all, just a nice guy. A bit later, a new customer entered, holding a small puppy, and Chan greeted them right away. The stranger asked for 2 packs of cigarettes, but Chan politely told him pets weren't allowed in the store. The man was a bit pufferfish-like and assured Chan that his baby didn't pee all over the place, so there was no need to worry. The pufferfish asked if he could leave his dog there for just a minute, claiming the dog was super quiet and didn't even bark. He added that he'd be out of there right after buying his beer and cigarettes, and asked Chan to let it slide this time. Chan figured there wouldn't be any other customers, so he agreed, but reminded the man to keep holding on to the dog. A little later, Chan checked his phone and saw a message from his manager asking if he needed any specific equipment. Chan thought for a second and requested a large mop, though his manager wondered if he wanted anything else. Chan told her to pick whatever she thought was best and that he'd be grateful for anything. After a bit, the pufferfish returned with drinks, placing them on the counter and handing Chan his card to pay. Chan entered the total and swiped the card. The transaction was declined, and Chan explained that the card had hit its spending limit. The pufferfish looked concerned and admitted he didn't have any other cards with him at the moment. He sighed, saying he'd have to go home to grab his wallet. He then asked Chan to look after his dog while he went to fetch the wallet. Chan was really confused, but the pufferfish reassured him he'd be back in 10 minutes with the money. Chan tried to refuse, but the pufferfish insisted the dog was well behaved and wouldn't cause any trouble. The pufferfish added that he'd buy everything in the store, leaving the dog with Chan just in case he didn't believe he'd return. Chan, feeling very uncomfortable, agreed, asking the pufferfish to come back quickly as the man left through the store door. After the whole situation, Chan was still stunned that the pufferfish had left his dog as collateral. As he looked at the dog, Chan couldn't help but think, despite all the craziness, this guy was one odd pet owner. Chan was still baffled. How could someone leave their dog with a complete stranger? It was definitely strange. As Chan petted the puppy, he couldn't help but think that, out of everyone, the dog was the real one suffering from such a strange owner. He figured the little dog must have a pretty rough life with an owner like that. If he were in the dog's paws, he'd have a whole list of complaints. Out of nowhere, the dog spoke up, saying he had something to share. He explained he wasn't sure if it was okay to speak out loud, so he kept quiet for many days. Chan froze in shock, instinctively backing away from the talking dog. The dog, looking cheerful as ever, asked if he could say something to Chan. Chan, still in disbelief, asked if the dog was really talking. The dog confirmed it, then explained he usually kept quiet, especially around his owner, since talking was risky. Chan asked why, and the dog shared that his owner would threaten him every time he spoke or barked. Chan couldn't help but think, yep, that pufferfish was definitely not a good owner. Chan asked the dog's name and age. The dog introduced himself as Puppy and proudly mentioned he was 2 years old. Chan complimented him, saying he spoke very well for his age. Puppy explained that by dog standards, 2 years old made him an adult. Chan asked if Puppy had ever met another dog that could speak so clearly. Puppy shook his head, saying most dogs just enjoy being with their owners and bark, no talking involved. He added that he'd never met a dog who could talk like him. In fact, he thought most dogs were too scared to speak, fearing their vocal cords might be taken away. Puppy then asked if he was strange. Chan shrugged, admitting he didn't know enough to say. Still, Chan said it seemed like everyone loved their dogs no matter what. Chan added that one of his friends even took his dog abroad. Puppy seemed envious of that. Chan asked if this was a common thing, his owner using him as collateral. Puppy quickly changed the topic, saying he didn't want to talk about it. The dog reluctantly mentioned how the pufferfish argued with his wife over him and acted weird when he was drunk. Despite all that, Puppy stuck around because his owner fed him and gave him a place to sleep. Still, there were times when he thought about leaving. Chan, after hearing all this, suggested Puppy talk to the pufferfish, but the dog was sure he'd get punished. Chan, agreeing his owner wasn't great, said life on the streets would be worse, and Puppy should at least try having a real conversation with him to make things better. After all the advice, Puppy agreed to give it a try and talk to his owner. Chan noticed it had been over 10 minutes and asked where the pufferfish was. Puppy shrugged, admitting he'd waited over an hour before. Chan shook his head, thinking the dog had really been through a lot. After a pause, Puppy asked if he could ask one more question, and Chan agreed. Puppy suddenly asked Chan what neutering surgery was. He mentioned overhearing his owner and his wife talk about the surgery being scheduled for next Monday. Puppy, blissfully unaware of what he was asking, smiled and wanted to know what the surgery was and why he had to have it. Chan, clearly frustrated, threw some papers down on the table. Chan decided to explain with some simple drawings, telling Puppy to calm down and listen closely. Chan started explaining that with so many people owning pets, neutering surgery was a common concern for pet owners. For male pets, it prevents health issues like prostate problems, and for females, it stops things like mammary tumors. Many owners choose it to keep their pets healthy, but it's not mandatory. Another option is pairing pets with a suitable partner and letting them start a family of their own. Chan explained that these decisions are made out of love for the pet, so owners think carefully before choosing either path. But what if the pet could actually speak? How would that change things? Suddenly, Puppy shouted that he didn't want any part of it. Puppy started yelling, saying he'd never have the surgery, even if it meant dying. He just couldn't understand why he had to go through such a weird procedure. Puppy thought maybe his past mistakes were the reason, but Chan quickly explained it wasn't about that, it was for his health. Puppy disagreed, saying that even if it was for his own good, he couldn't let them take that away from him. Puppy then asked if Chan would ever get neutering surgery. Chan, exasperated, yelled that the dog was crazy, and why would he even consider that? Puppy, now shouting, argued that it made no sense for him to undergo such punishment when no human would ever accept it. He called the surgery humiliating, super humiliating, and started to cry. Puppy continued, saying he hadn't even met a companion yet or started a family, and now he was going to be infertile. He wondered what kind of terrible sin he committed in his past life to deserve this. Chan, regretting the explanation, handed Puppy some water to calm him down. After a moment, Chan asked if Puppy was feeling a bit calmer. Puppy apologized for his behavior. Puppy explained that it was such a scary thing that he couldn't control his reaction, but Chan reassured him it was okay. Chan suggested he talk to his owner about not wanting the surgery, but Puppy said there was no need to. Puppy admitted he wasn't happy, but he had always followed his pufferfish owner faithfully since birth. But living like that wasn't truly living. If he wanted to live on his own terms, he'd have to cut ties with his owner. Puppy thanked Chan for helping him come to that decision. Chan quickly asked him to wait, clarifying he only suggested talking to his owner, not cutting ties completely. Puppy, however, insisted there was no need for that. Chan urged him to reconsider, reminding him that life outside would be tough. Puppy, however, didn't care. He was certain he'd suffer either way. With his peanuts on the line, leaving seemed like the best choice, and Chan, nodding, agreed it made sense. Puppy, now determined, said he'd made up his mind and hoped Chan would help. A moment later, he asked Chan to remove his collar. Chan removed the collar but couldn't shake the thought. Was this the right thing to do? Had the dog really thought this through? After a good shake, Puppy felt lighter without the collar, and Chan asked what else he could do to help. Puppy said he wanted to talk to his owner before leaving. One last chat. Chan asked if Puppy would say goodbye. Puppy nodded, admitting that while their relationship wasn't perfect, he still had some affection for his owner. Despite his anger, Puppy was determined to clear the air. Chan agreed, just as the pufferfish returned, walking into the store. Chan felt relieved that the pufferfish was back so quickly, but the creature seemed confused about the scene unfolding. The pufferfish glanced at Puppy, noticing the collar was missing, and wondered aloud if Chan had taken it off. Chan started to explain, mentioning that Puppy had something to say, which left the pufferfish more confused than ever. The pufferfish dismissed it as nonsense, but just then, Puppy called out to his owner. Puppy asked, just to confirm, whether the man really went home to grab his wallet after leaving him behind. Then, Puppy bluntly asked if the pufferfish was really planning to neuter him next week. The pufferfish stammered, and Puppy, realizing he had the answer, simply thanked him. Walking out, Puppy declared that he was going to live his own way from now on, leaving his owner behind. Puppy added that his owner shouldn't question why, shouldn't worry, and should just stay healthy. Before leaving, Puppy paused, wanting to say one final thing. Chan, watching, was confused as Puppy then asked if he could return to the shop later that day. Chan was about to answer, but the pufferfish was in complete shock, trying to make sense of everything happening. Chan finally agreed, telling Puppy to come back later. Before leaving, Puppy thanked him. Puppy also wished Chan's business well, and as he left, the pufferfish remained frozen in shock, trembling, trying to process what had just happened. The pufferfish began to inflate, ripping his clothes in the process, shouting his dog's name in panic. After a while, Chan cleaned up the mess left behind by the pufferfish, muttering that peace had finally returned. In a flashback, Chan remembered how the pufferfish had chased after Puppy, trying to reconcile. Chan wondered if this meant the pufferfish still cared about his pet, despite being a terrible owner. But he wasn't sure, so he decided to let them figure it out, stretching as he thought it over. Out of nowhere, a figure on a bicycle appeared, calling for Chan, who quickly turned to see who it was. It was the pure-blood dragon girl, the same one from before, the one making the Mother's Day gift. With a super sweet smile, the girl greeted him, her cuteness practically radiating. Inside, Chan was wiping away the little girl's runny nose, clearly not prepared for this. Chan asked if she had caught a cold, but she shook her head, insisting she hadn't. Chan, noticing the sniffles, asked why she was so sniffly if she wasn't sick. The girl tried to explain that her nose was just itchy. But as she sneezed, a small flame shot out of her nose, because, of course, she was a dragon. She kept sneezing, and Chan couldn't help but think she was sneezing way more than usual. The little dragon covered her nose, and Chan told her to wait a moment while he got something ready. She nodded, agreeing. A moment later, Chan grabbed a cup from the machine, hit the button for hot water, and started making something. As he prepared the drink, the dragon girl watched closely, her curiosity piqued. Chan told her she needed medicine to feel better and promised her chocolate afterward as a reward. Embarrassed, the girl admitted she didn't like taking medicine. Thinking quickly, the dragon girl made up an excuse, saying she didn't have any money today, so Chan didn't need to give her anything. Chan could tell she was making excuses and wasn't fooled. Chan warned her that if she didn't take the medicine now, she'd need a stronger shot later. The girl was shocked by this news. Chan asked if she still didn't want the medicine. With a sigh, she agreed and held out her hands to take it. Chan casually asked why she hadn't come by on Friday to see the gift. She explained she had piano class on Friday mornings, which made Chan think she was incredibly hardworking. Chan chuckled and warned her not to give her mother the gift just yet. With all her sneezing, it might catch fire. She explained she just stopped by to say hi, as convenience stores were places where you had to buy at least something. But since she didn't have any money now, she'd come back later when she had enough saved up. Chan asked how much she still needed to save. She told him she needed 21 and that her mom gave her 501 every 4 days. Chan quickly realized there were less than 2 weeks left until Mother's Day. Chan felt proud of her dedication, but at this rate, she wouldn't be able to finish all the gifts in time, and he couldn't keep selling things to a kid every day. Chan wondered what to say to the girl as she came by, figuring it was just a hangout until he spotted some lollipops in her eyes. He got an idea, reward her with 2 lollipops for taking the medicine. She accepted happily. Chan then asked how much money she had, and she said 501. Chan smiled, saying that worked out perfectly since 2 lollipops cost exactly 501. There were plenty of snacks she could buy with that, and Chan promised they'd talk snacks tomorrow. He told her she could drop by any time with 501. She was surprised and agreed immediately. A moment later, she said she'd buy the lollipops, and they swapped the treats. The girl kept staring at the lollipops, and Chan asked if something was wrong or if she wanted a different flavor. She asked which flavor Chan liked, leaving him wondering why she was offering the lollipops back. Maybe she should save them for later. With a sweet smile, she explained that she had to drink the chocolate he promised her first. Her mom warned her that too many sweets could lead to childhood diabetes, and Chan realized the girl was a little scared of her mom's rules. Still, with a cute expression, she added that sharing delicious things with friends made them taste even better. Chan agreed, figuring he had no choice. When the girl asked which flavor he liked, he said something sour, and she happily decided to take the chocolate. Looking at the gift, Chan couldn't help but feel like he was taking things from a kid again. He thought about how kids today were so innocent and kind, unlike the ones from his time. He remembered the manager mentioning that dragons could sense emotions by color, but he doubted the little dragon would follow someone based on that alone. The girl suddenly got curious and asked if Chan lived nearby. He told her he lived about 3 minutes away. She got excited, saying that was close, and Chan asked if she lived around here too. She shook her head, saying it took her about an hour by subway to get home. Chan asked if her school was nearby. She said yes, this was the Academy District. She got off at the station and went to a big school with lots of older and younger siblings. There were plenty of kids her age, and she added that her mom's company was nearby too. Chan thought her school sounded pretty different from a regular one, then asked if that's why she rode her bike to the store. She nodded, saying the bike belonged to her mom's company. They stepped outside, and the little dragon pointed in a direction. They passed a giant building with a K on it. She explained she usually went home with her mom after school, but stayed overnight at her mom's company yesterday. Chan commented that her mom must work at a good company. She agreed, saying she loved spending time with her mom. But then she hinted there were other reasons she liked it even more. Chan asked what those were. She revealed it was because Chan lived so close. This meant they'd get to hang out more often, and she was thrilled about it. However, Chan let her know he didn't plan to stay at the store forever. In his mind, Chan figured he'd stick around until he got another job, anything to escape part-time life. Yet life at the store was full of bizarre moments, like fake IDs exploding, dragon scales needing purification, or getting scolded by a chihuahua over a toothbrush. He even asked a succubus for dating advice, despite never having been on a date himself. Where else would he find this kind of weirdness? But he knew he couldn't stay at the convenience store forever just for the quirky moments. The little girl, though, looked sad. Seeing her face, Chan realized he might have been too blunt and felt bad about it. He quickly patted her head, reassuring her that he wasn't quitting right away. No need to be upset. The girl, still unsure, asked if that was true, and Chan explained that he'd said it to make her cautious around strangers. She asked why, and Chan explained that it wasn't safe to trust strangers, wondering if her mom hadn't warned her about that already. He added that it was all for her safety and hoped she wouldn't forget it. But she insisted that he'd helped her with the Mother's Day gift and even gave her medicine to stop sneezing. No matter what, Chan had been a big help, and she appreciated it. To her, Chan was a good adult. Chan felt a little embarrassed and quickly told her to buy some drawing paper when she came by next time. Later, as Chan was tidying up, his manager walked in with a cheerful good morning. She mentioned that the door had been a bit broken and complimented Chan for working hard the day before. Chan was glad she noticed his effort. She gave a small gasp and revealed that's why her employee had worked so hard the day before. Chan turned around to see a smartphone and asked what it was. She explained it was a new piece of equipment she'd gotten for him. She told him she'd had an unused phone lying around, so she customized it and added features just for him. She'd teach him how to use it. But Chan noticed something on her face and asked if she was okay. She revealed she was just exhausted. She explained that the mark on the phone meant it was certified, and the shield-shaped app was defensive magic. The other app was for restoration magic. She said he could use it like a camera app, just focus on what he wanted to fix and take a picture. It was clear the phone needed to follow the app's instructions. She checked if Chan needed help, but he said he was good for now. They decided to use the phone, and Chan opened the camera app, focusing on what needed fixing. Pointing the camera at the door, the phone asked him to set the time and press the reverse button. Chan asked if he should press the button, but the manager quickly urged him to stay still, getting a little nervous herself. She explained the magic app needed perfect stillness to work right. Chan nodded, understanding the importance. She instructed him to press the button and wait until the door's image fully appeared, though her exhaustion was pretty obvious. Chan pressed the button, and the phone suddenly displayed a scene from the past. The screen replayed the moment the ox broke the door, and Chan couldn't help but be impressed by the tech. The phone rewound to before the door was broken, and the manager quickly asked him to stop, which he did. Chan was in awe, realizing everything was being replayed in front of him. It was pretty incredible. The manager told him to press another button to restore the door. Chan pressed the button, wondering how on earth it could actually rewind time. This was impossible in his world. A bright light erupted, illuminating both Chan and his manager, leaving him completely stunned by what was happening. A blue magic aura appeared where the cardboard door once was, slowly dismantling it as if time was literally rewinding. The magic spread, and everything broken started to fix itself, glass and all. After a few moments, the door was fully restored, and even the manager seemed impressed by the magic. Chan stood there, totally stunned, utterly amazed by what he just witnessed. As he opened the glass door, the manager called it a success. She asked if Chan thought everything was fixed, and he asked if there were any real issues with the function. She asked what problems he was thinking of, and Chan pointed out that it seemed like the magic rewound everything, even customers, like the ox that broke the door or the wolf that helped him. This left him feeling confused, and he wondered if the magic could affect customers too. He feared the magic might turn customers into kids, but the manager assured him not to worry about that just yet. She explained that the magic was time-related but couldn't be used on living creatures. No one could do that. Chan sighed in relief but still found it all pretty unexpected. The manager explained that time magic was still unexplored territory. She shared that magicians had been studying it for decades, but progress had been slow, and it was impossible to cast it on living creatures. She reassured him that he didn't need to worry and could use it comfortably. Chan nodded, realizing maybe he'd been overthinking it. Shannon couldn't believe she stayed up just for that. The manager confirmed it, explaining that using the phone required quite a bit of prep. Chan, still confused, asked why. The manager explained the phone had a magic stone that could download formulas and cast spells. She warned him that downloading formulas needed a lot of data, so he'd need Wi-Fi and to use the phone carefully. Chan, impressed, complimented the manager and asked where she got such a phone. She casually said someone she knew had given it to her. She added that she'd almost forgotten the phone but remembered and gave it to him. Chan thanked her, promising to use it well. The manager then asked if Chan was curious about anything, and he nodded yes. Still confused from the day before, Chan asked if there was any chance a dog could talk in this world. The manager said the dog was probably a mystical creature. Chan commented that in his world, mystical creatures were divine animals. She explained that it was similar, but in this world, powerful animals were called mystical creatures. She clarified that any animal with a special ability was mystical, and most of them were highly intelligent, probably just like the dog. She mentioned it had been a while since she'd heard of a talking dog. Chan added that the puppy didn't seem to know it was mystical. She explained that other creatures with abilities beyond intelligence sometimes discover their powers by chance. The thought of the puppy returning made the manager worry, though she tried to stay calm. Chan asked why, and she explained that mystical creatures were rare, making it hard to find them. Because of their rarity, these creatures were worth a lot and highly valued in the market. In fact, Chan could easily sell a mystical creature for at least 10 billion won, and he imagined the pufferfish man was regretting his decision. The manager expressed her worry about potential dangers, but Chan decided it was best to head home for now. As Chan left, the manager warned him it might rain later, telling him to be careful when he returned. He agreed. Not long after he stepped out, the scene shifted back to the convenience store, now bathed in the night. Inside, Chan noted that the rain was picking up, starting to pour heavily. In his head, Chan already dreaded mopping the floor and dealing with the trash, rain or not. Suddenly, his phone buzzed and he saw he'd gotten a new message. The message was from his manager, explaining the phone had a translation app he could use anytime. Along with the message, she sent a photo of herself eating seafood and green onion pancakes, probably knowing Chan was envious at that moment. Chan couldn't help but think how rare it was to find a manager like hers while working part-time. As he pondered what to give his manager for his first paycheck, someone walked into the store. The customer called out to Chan, asking where the umbrella stand was. To his surprise, it was the Chihuahua again, refusing to enter until Chan brought the umbrella stand. A bit later, the dog pointed to a drink, asking Chan if it was any good. Chan shrugged, unsure, but the dog demanded he listen, questioned why Chan was being so difficult. Trying to stay calm, Chan thought about many things but simply told the dog to try another store if he was going to keep bothering him. Chan pointed out the buy one, get one free deal and suggested the dog take it, but the dog declined, saying he didn't need it. Chan continued to push, explaining the dog wouldn't lose anything by buying it. Reluctantly, the dog gave in, grabbing the drink and heading to the counter. The dog suggested Chan try one of the drinks, but it caught Chan off guard. He didn't want to accept anything from a customer again. Chan politely declined, mentioning he had already received something earlier and didn't want to risk getting in trouble since it was alcohol. The dog asked if Chan had ever had a drink during late shifts, and Chan admitted he hadn't since it was against the rules. The dog, however, casually admitted he did it sometimes. Chan raised an eyebrow, wondering if that was even allowed at the dog's company. The dog explained that if a company didn't want employees drinking, they shouldn't make them work weekends. He asked Chan if anyone could work sober on weekends, and Chan thought the dog was probably heading for trouble. Later, under the moonlight, a winged horse soared through the sky with Yona on its back. Yona turned toward the convenience store, heading straight for it. After a while, she landed gracefully in front of the store, ready to talk to Chan. Before entering, she asked her winged horse to wait outside for a bit. Full of energy, Yona burst into the store, announcing her arrival and calling for Chan. She asked how Chan was, but quickly noticed he was staring at a drink in front of him, lost in thought. Yona snapped him out of his trance, asking if he was actually going to drink it. Chan blinked, realizing she was standing right there. Chan struggled to hide the can of beer, explaining it was a gift from a customer, and he wasn't sure what to do with it. He added that he was also worried about the customer, which got Yona curious. Chan shared that his customer was a kobold with a chugoho-like face, and he feared the guy might get fired. Yona agreed, noting it was definitely unusual. Yona pointed out that the part-time job suited Chan, since he actually cared about his customers. She added that she tried it too, but found it tough. Chan asked if Yona had worked there before, and she nodded, admitting it was a short stint before she quit. Yona explained that even though she was there briefly, she had to deal with unpleasant customers who thought insulting her was the bare minimum. She added that many customers left snack wrappers on the floor after eating and shamelessly demanded refunds. Her sister tried to calm things down, but Yona said she could have handled it if it was just once or twice. But the incidents kept happening, and she nearly lost it on a customer. It really made her furious, and she almost hit someone because of it. Yona admitted she didn't hit the customer because her sister stopped her, but she quit right after. Sham found the whole thing fascinating. Chan asked what Yona was doing there since it wasn't delivery day, and she suddenly remembered something important. Yona revealed she wasn't there for deliveries, but needed Chan's help with something. Confused, Chan waited as Yona pulled out something from her backpack. Chan jumped as Yona pulled out a glowing monster core that looked like a heart, asking if he could touch it. Yona jokingly suggested she could try saying please, but Chan immediately refused, looking grossed out. Yona reassured him it wasn't dangerous and just needed purification, like the scale. Chan still wasn't having it, claiming he wasn't touching the gross thing. Chan asked why he should touch it and what it even was. Yona explained it was a magical monster core, kind of like their heart. She added that the core was packed with magical energy, often used to power trains, which made it expensive. The core was also linked to the monster products her sister ordered. Chan asked if the manager had sent Yona with it, but she clarified that her sister had asked for something else. Yona then asked if Chan remembered the dragon scales, to which he nodded. Yona explained that her sister had ordered a stuffed monster. She added that purification was important for stuffed monsters too, but she didn't trust the company completely, so she needed Chan to check it. Yona mentioned that if the magical core didn't react to Chan, her sister's order would probably be fine. Finally, she asked if Chan could do it, and he hesitated a bit. Chan considered touching it with his eyes closed, trusting Yona's word. He also thought about how the manager always tried to make him feel comfortable, though she was currently sound asleep at home. Determined, Chan clenched his fist, thinking he at least had to repay the manager somehow. Chan asked if he should just touch it for a moment, and Yona, sensing his reluctance, nodded. Yona reassured him that it was purified and safe. Chan closed his eyes, steeled himself, and reached for the dragon core. Moments later, Chan and Yona were running out of the store, the aftermath of a purple explosion lingering behind them. Out of breath, Chan was utterly confused, staring at the destruction left in the wake of the explosion. Chan shouted at Yona, reminding her she'd said it was safe, then asked what was up with the smoke that smelled like something not quite pleasant. Trembling, Chan couldn't believe how dangerous that item turned out to be. Yona clenched her fist, visibly furious. She seethed with anger, muttering about how those idiots lied and how she'd have to deal with them. She started walking off, saying she'd return after calling the company to sort things out. Chan could only watch as Yona disappeared around the corner. Chan, still in shock, commented that Yona seemed furious and wondered what to do next. He realized he couldn't go back inside with the smell lingering, and if it didn't clear up soon, no one would come to shop. Just then, someone arrived and asked if there was a magical monster core in the store. Chan greeted the newcomer, realizing it was the robot who had fallen off a bike near the store last time. The robot grinned, thanking Chan for remembering him. The robot explained that the smoke and smell were probably from the core being purified. He asked if they were handling a magical core inside, and Chan replied that they might have been. Apologizing, Chan told the customer they might need to try another store for now since shopping here was pretty much impossible at the moment. Meanwhile, Yona was on the phone, visibly furious, calling someone a fraud and demanding an explanation. Yona argued with the company, ready to sue them for the deception, but they didn't seem to care one bit. She claimed victory, saying she'd enjoy suing the fraudsters, then hung up. Furious, Yona punched the wall, leaving a small dent. Leaning on the wall, she took deep breaths, trying to calm down. Chan asked if she was okay, and Yona apologized, explaining the company had pushed her too far. Chan asked what they said. Yona, trying to stay calm, explained that the company lied, claiming their work was fine, but the results spoke for themselves. Worse, they had the nerve to ask if it was their mistake. Chan thought it sounded like a shady black market operation. Chan asked about the smoke and smell, but Yona sighed, saying all the companies were probably closed since it was the weekend. Yona regretted asking Chan for help, feeling like it had only caused trouble. Chan reassured her it wasn't her fault. But then, the robot surprised them both by offering to take a look himself. The robot assured them he could fix the problem right away, though Chan hesitated. He explained that Chan's kindness after he'd fallen off his bike left a deep impression on him, and he wanted to return the favor. The robot promised it was no problem, and hoped Chan would trust him to handle it. A little later, Yona and Chan watched the robot head into the store. Yona, feeling a bit down for asking a customer for help, wondered if the robot was a regular visitor. Chan replied that the robot wasn't a regular and had only fallen in front of the store, so he and the manager had helped him out. Yona was surprised, commenting that both Chan and her sister were incredibly kind-hearted. She then asked what the robot could actually do. Just then, they saw the metallic figure scanning the magical beast core. The robot started processing the data, while Chan mentioned that the robot owned a monster-slaying factory. Yona realized that's why the robot was so confident. Just then, the robot extended 2 electrified prongs from its fingers. Chan asked what Yona meant, and she explained that robots were great at craftsmanship. If this one owned a factory, his skills were top-notch. Yona reassured Chan they could trust the robot as it began inserting the electrified prongs into the core. An electric shock followed, accompanied by a loud, dramatic reaction. A bright light filled the store, turning the night into what felt like midday. Chan and Yona stood, completely astonished as they watched the scene unfold. The robot emerged, holding the purified magical beast core, proudly announcing that the purification was 100% complete. Yona congratulated the robot, while Chan checked if it was okay after the huge electrical discharge. The robot explained it was all normal, and pointed out the core had turned white, showing perfect purification. The robot added that his analysis showed the core was purified twice, and advised Yona never to deal with that company again. Don't do business with them ever again, the robot firmly stated. Yona asked why, and the robot explained that the first purification was only 80% complete, making it dangerous. A flashback showed goblins plotting to cut costs by using less purified water, and the robot mentioned that purified water prices had been rising. He added that the workers probably cut corners to save money. Yona, hearing this, was fuming. With a fierce glare, Yona muttered angrily, vowing to break the bones of everyone involved in the shady purification. The robot casually remarked that many companies cut corners nowadays, and he understood why they did it. Chan asked what he meant, and the robot explained that since March, fewer gate activations made monster hunting harder, and factories were cutting corners to stay afloat. In fact, the robot said he hadn't received any work requests either, so he decided to take a stroll to clear his mind. Yona reassured him not to worry, mentioning that she had some news. He told him that Yona was looking for a new business partner. Yona confirmed, saying they had plenty of work lined up. Yona asked if the robot was interested in signing a contract with them. The robot immediately agreed, eager to sign right away. As Yona shook hands with her new partner, she suggested heading straight to work. The robot, eager as ever, agreed. After walking off with Yona, the robot paused, turned back, and asked if Chan had done the second purification. Chan confirmed it. The robot noted the store had no equipment or purified water, and was curious how Chan managed it. Chan considered not revealing his anti-magic ability, but Yona quickly stepped in, calling it a secret. She told the robot to understand that it was confidential and not to ask any more questions. Later, Chan used his magical phone to fix a broken part of the store. After watching Yona leave on her Pegasus with the robot, Chan sighed, wishing for a quieter day. Later, Chan received a notification from Yona, who'd asked for his number. She flooded his phone with messages, praising his purification skills, and mentioning the magical object was nearly perfectly purified. Confused, Chan couldn't help but wonder if Yona was really just a delivery girl after all. From how Yona talked about monsters earlier, it was clear she wasn't just a regular delivery person. She seemed to have some serious experience and strength. Chan quickly figured that Yona was more than just a regular delivery girl. There had to be some mystery behind her. He couldn't help but wonder if only the toughest delivery workers survive in a world full of monsters and challenges. Stretching, he decided to ask Yona about it later. For now, he just hoped the weird smell from the store had finally faded. Just then, a girl appeared behind a wall, looking a little lost. Chan noticed her and asked if she was okay, to which she quickly reassured him she was. Chan wondered if he had startled her, but as he looked closer, he realized it was the same succubus from the other day. She looked at Chan again and apologized for disturbing him while he was working. She apologized once more, explaining that she had gone to a club with her seniors, but they ditched her and vanished. As she cried, she wondered aloud why people could be so cruel, leaving her alone. Chan noticed something different about her, and started wondering if this was the transformation of a woman he'd heard about. Still, her being there after visiting the club seemed strange, so he asked what brought her to the store. Chan jokingly asked if she went to the club hoping to find true love, but she quickly shot that idea down. She explained that it was her first time at a club, and she only went because her seniors dragged her there. There was no way she could find true love at a place like that. She was totally out of her element, just dragged along by her seniors. The succubus mentioned that she had asked her seniors for relationship advice, hoping for some guidance, but instead of helping, they took her to a club after hearing that. At the club, her seniors told her she needed real-life experience and dumped her in a corner all alone. She recalled feeling totally lost, not understanding why she was even there. As she tried to make sense of it all, a squidman asked her to dance, making the situation even more awkward. Meanwhile, her seniors were too busy mingling to notice, and when she tried to get rid of the squidmen, other guys kept awkwardly edging toward her. She teared up, saying it felt like she was going to die from the sheer awkwardness of the whole experience. She vented about how much she hated her seniors, and Chan couldn't help but think she'd had another rough day. Chan asked if her seniors had given her any other advice, considering how much she'd been through. The girl listed off other suggestions her seniors made, while Chan explained that clubs are usually where people meet and start relationships. He then asked if she'd be open to trying other methods. The girl mentioned that one senior had suggested a dating app, but she didn't know how to sign up since it was her first time. Determined to help, Chan asked to borrow her phone. After installing the app, he suggested they take a photo for her profile, and she happily agreed. As Chan aimed the camera at the succubus, he noticed her face was completely expressionless. Chan quickly told her to smile more naturally. She nervously admitted that she just couldn't relax when she knew someone was taking her picture. She complained that her makeup was a little smudged and that she didn't take good photos, not even selfies. But Chan quickly broke the tension, telling her she was gorgeous, always had been, but today she looked especially stunning. He then just asked for a beautiful smile. Surprised by the compliments, she flashed a sweet smile and asked why Chan was saying all that. Seizing the moment, Chan snapped her photo and told her it was all set. She just needed to add some info and a greeting, and the app would do the rest. She fiddled with the phone, filled in the details, and pressed the button. Suddenly, the phone buzzed to announce her match had been made. She showed Chan the profile, saying her match was a succubus lecker, and asked what he thought. Chan took a quick look at the guy's photos and commented that he seemed like an active person, unlike himself. The succubus asked if Chan could talk to the guy, but he remarked that the guy looked a little odd. Chan couldn't help but wonder why the guy had gold decorations all over his body, some of them even looked gilded. He also noticed a feminine hand next to him in one of the photos and wondered if the guy had cropped someone out of the picture. While studying the phone further, Chan spotted a strange word and asked what it meant. The succubus explained that it was an ancient term, and cheer, the man's name. It meant pure love. She commented that his name sounded really cool and asked if Chan agreed. But when she looked at Chan's face, she noticed he seemed pretty stressed. Concerned, she asked what was wrong, and at that moment Chan pressed the button to delete the match. Chan, suspicious, asked if the succubus senior, who suggested the app, was the type to prank her, and she confirmed, asking how he knew. She explained that this senior was always pranking and teasing her, and it made her angry since the bully never listened to her complaints. She added that this senior was one of the ones who dragged her to the club, then asked why Chan was bringing it up. Chan thought to himself that the club situation was probably another prank. He decided to switch gears and asked what kind of man she liked. Completely confused, she asked why, and Chan explained it'd be tough to find someone if she didn't know her ideal type. He also pointed out that knowing her ideal type could make things easier. She started to think about it and said she liked a guy she could be honest with, someone who listened to all her confessions. During tough times, she just wanted someone who could accept her, flaws and all, and listen to everything she had to say just by looking into her eyes. But as she looked at Chan, something about him touched her heart in a way she didn't expect. After a while, Chan was seen sweeping the sidewalk, his mind still on the recent events. As he thought back on the moment, he wondered if the girl made it home safely, or if something was wrong. Chan wondered if he'd said something wrong. Giving relationship advice when he'd never been in a relationship himself felt a bit absurd. Just then, someone called out, and it was the dragon girl, now wearing a beautiful dress with intricate patterns. Chan recognized her right away, noticing she had brought the paper he'd asked for. She confirmed, giving him the paper with a smile. She explained she'd come early to make gifts, but while running, she tripped. The little girl tumbled face first, and Chan's concern was instant. Quickly, he helped her up and checked if she was okay, asking if she'd hurt herself. She assured him she was fine, just as a rabbit-like creature showed up, asking if the girl was okay as well. The rabbit creature offered ointments for Chan's daughter and asked if he wanted any, as Chan held the small girl in his arms. Realizing he was holding the girl like a father and had just been called Dad, Chan was left stunned. While his purchases were being rung up, a winged girl commented that the half-dragon girl was absolutely adorable. Another customer walked by, remarking how beautiful and charming Chan's daughter was. An elderly turtle later asked if the little dragon followed her father to work, cooing at how cute it was. As another gift was handed to the little girl, Chan stood there, blank-faced, unsure how to handle the situation. Looking at the half-dragon girl, who was now surrounded by gifts from customers, Chan realized he was being mistaken for a father. He mused that if he'd married young, he might have a kid that age, but it still felt super weird. Suddenly, the child apologized and called out to Chan, who asked what she needed. She sheepishly mentioned she was probably bothering him while he was working. She apologized for being early, but Chan, as always, reassured her that it was no problem, and she shouldn't worry. Gently ruffling her head, Chan commented that, actually, it was easier to work with her around. The dragon girl raised an eyebrow, asking if he was serious, and Chan explained that Mondays turned people into zombies, all sluggish and sad. She asked what that meant. Chan chuckled, saying it was a terrible disease only adults got, Monday blues that made everything ache. But when the little girl showed up, everyone's mood lifted, and the Monday blues were suddenly gone. The girl was clearly impressed by what she heard. Chan asked if she could greet the customers and suggested a smile would make it even better. She agreed, determined to do her best. Just then, a downcast wannabe with fish gills entered the store, looking utterly disheartened. She asked where to find a hangover cure, and Chan quickly pointed her to the right shelf. Still dazed, she couldn't find it until her eyes landed on the little girl. The half-dragon girl flashed a sweet smile and greeted her. The fish girl's heart fluttered immediately at the sight of the adorable smile. She gushed, almost in disbelief at the cuteness, saying she felt like her heart might just explode. The fish girl turned to Chan, saying he must be thrilled to have such a cute daughter. After buying what she needed, she thanked Chan and the little dragon girl, saying she felt so much better thanks to them. She waved goodbye as she left the store, and Chan called out that she should come back anytime. Chan thought to himself that the little dragon girl wasn't just lifting spirits, she was boosting sales too. It was honestly impressive for a child to have such an impact. After the long workday, Chan decided to help her finish the gift and asked if she had crayons. She quickly nodded. They sat at the table, ready to continue, and Chan asked what kind of flower field she imagined. She described a vast field under a light blue sky. He asked her to fill the paper with her vision, and when she was done, they'd add the paper flowers they made earlier. She eagerly agreed. Chan watched her draw until a new customer walked in, making him turn around. He greeted the cat person who had just entered. The cat person asked where the snacks were, and Chan directed him to the next aisle. The cat thanked him and went off to find his snacks. Chan couldn't help but think everything was going smoothly, wondering if it was easier thanks to the half-dragon girl. But then he noticed something odd about the dragon girl and asked if something was wrong. A girl, calling out desperately to her friend, told Chan that the cat had something black. Chan, confused, pointed out that the cat's fur was light brown and wondered what was going on. Chan first thought she meant the cat's black clothing, but she clarified that she meant the cat's heart was black. The attendant and the half-dragon girl ducked behind the counter, keeping a close eye on the cat's every move. Chan asked if she meant the cat was a bad customer, and she nodded, explaining that bad intentions make a person's heart turn black. Chan was impressed, asking if she could really see such things. She confirmed, saying she could spot hearts changing suddenly. Chan thought to himself that with that ability, she'd be someone great one day, but he was still unsure what the cat was up to since nothing seemed off. Chan, trusting the girl's judgment completely, called his manager, mentioning that dragons could see magic in people. Deciding to act, he told the girl to wait as he grabbed a mop and started cleaning the floor for no reason at all. While mopping, he kept a close watch on the cat, waiting for the slightest suspicious move. In his mind, Chan dared the cat to do something bad, steal or try to sneak away with something. With a mischievous grin, he vowed that the moment the cat made a move, he'd deliver justice with his mop. After browsing the snacks, the cat picked out some dark chocolate balls and asked Chan to ring them up. Surprised the cat hadn't done anything suspicious, Chan's expression froze, making the cat shift uncomfortably. The cat insisted he just wanted to buy the snacks, and Chan was left startled, realizing the cat hadn't tried to steal anything. Coming back to his senses, Chan processed the purchase but couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right, even though the cat had done nothing wrong. Chan started to wonder if the cat was planning something shady somewhere else. As the cat pulled out money, a dark, ominous aura seemed to radiate from the wallet. Chan noticed it and immediately grabbed the customer's hand, holding it tightly. Apologizing, Chan asked the cat to show him his wallet, assuring it would only take a moment, all while holding the cat's hand firmly. He insisted it would only take a minute, or maybe 30 seconds. The cat, clearly annoyed, protested as Chan pinned him to the wall, demanding to know why Chan needed to see his wallet. Chan stared at the suspicious item, confirming his suspicions. It was highly suspect. Chan noted that the wallet looked like the enchanted ID card he'd encountered earlier, meaning it probably contained magic and was hiding something. He realized that if he touched it, like the vampire's fake ID, something might happen. Just then, the cat jerked away, angrily demanding that Chan stop touching his hand. The cat ordered Chan to stop messing with him, but Chan was desperately trying to figure out a way to touch the wallet. Annoyed, the cat asked what the problem was. Chan, trying to cover, said the wallet looked cool. He added that he was interested in buying one like it and just wanted to check the brand. Finally, Chan asked if the cat could just show him the wallet, but the customer shouted, "No!" The cat accused Leah of being crazy and threatened to call the police if things didn't stop. Chan begged him not to, insisting he only wanted to see the wallet. The half-dragon girl interrupted, calling out to the catman to get his attention. Flashing an irresistibly sweet smile, she added that she wanted to see his wallet too, asking if he could show it to her, just for a little bit. The cat was completely overwhelmed by her cuteness, his face turning flustered. In his flustered state, the cat dropped the wallet, and Chan wasted no time seizing the opportunity. With lightning reflexes, Chan touched the wallet, silently praising the half-dragon girl for her perfect timing. The dark energy from the wallet started warping the air around it, inflating like a balloon. Startled, Chan let go of the wallet as it kept growing bigger and bigger. Chan watched in confusion as the wallet expanded, unsure of what was happening. The calm catman was now panicked, shouting in alarm, wondering what was going on. The cat grew increasingly nervous, questioning why his wallet was suddenly blowing up like a balloon. Chan swiftly pulled the half-dragon girl behind the counter for protection, just as the wallet exploded, flooding the store with blinding light. The light faded, and the chaos settled into an eerie calm. From the exploded wallet, various store items rained down, leaving Chan utterly bewildered. As he looked at the scattered items, Chan realized many were products from the store. Confused, he quickly pieced together what had happened. Chan suddenly realized the cat had been using the enchanted wallet to steal everything, spotting the trembling thief trying to hide nearby. He told the half-dragon girl to wait and grab the mop he'd been using earlier, preparing to confront the thief. Chan slammed the mop down in front of the frightened cat, his voice furious as he demanded the cat listen to him for a moment. Chan ordered the cat to take his stolen goods and leave, warning him never to come back. He added that if the cat ever came back spouting that ridiculous English again, he'd make sure his face met the mop. Chan's expression was pure intimidation, making it clear he meant every word. Terrified, the cat bolted out of the store like he'd just seen a ghost. With the ordeal over, Chan felt relieved but groaned inwardly, knowing he'd have to clean up the mess again. The half-dragon girl approached, her eyes full of concern, asking if Chan was okay. Chan smiled, assuring her he was fine, then checked if she was hurt. The half-dragon girl nodded with a calm smile, saying she was fine. Chan, relieved, thanked her for helping stop the theft. The little half-dragon girl humbly shrugged, saying it was Chan who actually caught the thief. The door chime rang again, and Chan looked up to see the manager stepping in, surveying the chaos. He hurriedly explained that things had gotten out of hand. The manager chuckled awkwardly, asking if Chan could explain what had happened. After hearing the full story, the manager asked if all the stolen goods came from the wallet. As Chan finished cleaning up, he confirmed it, but admitted he wasn't sure when it had all happened. He speculated that the cat had selected and hidden the items in the enchanted wallet. The manager nodded, explaining that the wallet was a legally enchanted item. She analyzed it further, pointing out that it was imbued with movement and storage magic, able to bypass security enchantments. Impressed, she asked how Chan had recognized the magic, leaving him stumped for an answer. Chan, unsure of how to explain, just muttered that it was hard to put into words. The dragon girl finished cleaning and clapped happily. The manager thanked her, but the girl quickly hid behind Chan, nervous. Chan watched with a blank face as the manager tried to approach, but the girl stayed wary and untrusting. Heartbroken, the manager crouched down, assuring the girl she meant no harm, while Chan tried to calm her down. Chan turned to the dragon girl, asking if she needed to head to kindergarten. Realizing she did, she nodded. Chan helped her put on her bag and packed the snacks she had into it, telling her they'd finish the gift for her mom another day. Later, the girl waved goodbye cheerfully, promising to see Chan another day. Chan and the manager waved her off, both smiling as she left. The manager, still curious, asked if Chan recognized the wallet's magic because of his anti-magic abilities. Chan nodded, explaining that as soon as he saw the wallet, everything around it started glowing. He added that this time the feeling was so intense you couldn't miss it. It was like the item practically shouted, "I'm magical!" The manager analyzed the situation, noting that Chan's anti-magic abilities seemed to be getting stronger. She explained that magicians get stronger with more practice, and Chan's anti-magic abilities probably work the same way. She theorized that all of Chan's experiences in this world had helped stimulate and strengthen his abilities. Deciding to talk about it more later, she suggested they deal with the attempted theft first. Chan raised an eyebrow, pointing out that it wasn't a successful robbery, just a failed attempt. A half-elf police officer arrived, introducing herself and asking Chan and the manager for details about the attempted robbery. As Chan explained, the officer took notes, while the manager confirmed his story, praising him for preventing major damage. The manager even asked the officer if he thought their employee was amazing, and he agreed, complimenting the store's great worker. The officer then asked to see the security footage, and the manager agreed, offering help with access. The officer declined, saying he could handle it, and the manager told him to take his time. After the officer left, the manager turned to Chan with a thoughtful look, mentioning that her sister Yona had sent him money as a reward for purifying the magical core. Chan was surprised but grateful. Chan thanked her and apologized for not consulting her first, but the manager reassured him it was fine, reminding him to keep her posted if he ever plans to leave. She explained that before Chan arrived, finding part-time workers had been a struggle. It made her worried about him leaving, but Chan quickly reassured her he wasn't going anywhere. Chan explained that even if he worked elsewhere, he'd still be tied to the convenience store, as his circumstances were unique. Blushing a little, he added that more than anything, he enjoyed working there with her. He reassured her that he planned to stay, making the manager smile warmly. The manager patted his back, teasing that she was definitely better than other store owners and looked forward to working with him. With a sly grin, she teased that she should come up with a plan to handle his anti-magic constitution. Chan, confused, asked what she meant, but before she could answer, Irul came out of the camera room. The manager turned to Irul, asking if he'd finished reviewing the footage, and he replied that he had. The manager noted that they now had a description of the suspect and the stolen tool, so the investigation would move forward. She felt a bit relieved. She reminded Irul to be careful with the investigation, and he nodded before turning to Chan. Irul stated that, based on the footage and details, it was clear the wallet had several magical spells embedded in it. He added that the spells had been deactivated, but he noticed Chan had touched the wallet. He asked if Chan knew anything about it. Irul ordered Chan to be honest if he knew what had happened, leaving Chan and the manager nervous and unsure of what to say. Chan started to explain, but the manager quickly interrupted, reminding him not to lie. Flustered, Chan closed his eyes, unsure of how to respond. He finally explained that he had just touched it with his hand, and it exploded on its own. Irul raised an eyebrow, questioning if Chan was really saying the wallet had self-destructed. Chan guessed it probably did since he wasn't sure, but all he did was touch the suspicious wallet and, bam, it exploded. The manager jumped in, explaining that the wallet might have been designed to deactivate all spells when touched by a third party, something common in old magical tools. The officer asked if the manager was a mage, to which she confirmed, adding she'd need to analyze it, but she was pretty sure that was the case. The officer nodded, understanding, and thanked them both for their cooperation with the investigation. The officer then asked if they had any questions. Chan immediately said no, but his boss shouted that she had something to ask. The manager asked if the officer usually slept well, and he awkwardly lied, saying yes. He then admitted he only sleeps 30 minutes a day. Chan was shocked, and the manager added that it's dangerous to drive on so little sleep. She promised to give him a potion next time he visited so he could sleep better, and he thanked her for the kind offer. He joked that it might violate anti-bribery laws, but she casually mentioned the potion cost less than 30,000 won, so he could just buy it. She explained she was just concerned for him and wanted him to accept it without hesitation. The officer gave Chan an annoyed look, which he immediately noticed. He quickly assured her that he'd tried the potion before, and it really worked. He added that the potion tastes like strawberries, is easy to drink, and helps you fall into a deep sleep. Feeling cornered, the elf agreed, promising to visit again after the investigation results. Time passed, and as the police car drove off, Chan wondered what would have happened if he'd just told the truth. The manager joked that the officer would have probably told Chan to become a cop, since there were so few anti-magic users, they were in high demand. Chan disagreed, saying he didn't think the officer would have suggested that. She seemed way too honest, especially with how she mentioned the bribery law. The manager agreed but added that the officer was probably just trying to avoid trouble. Sleeping only 30 minutes a day can't be easy. She guessed the elf must be under a lot of pressure at work, and Chan figured it might be because of her race. As Chan looked down the street, he saw an elf walking by and started to understand why some people still didn't trust them, given past events. But he knew it wasn't fair to persecute those who truly reflected on their mistakes and were trying to help others. Just then, an elf bumped into a half-dog, and while the dog apologized, the elf snapped, saying apologies didn't fix everything. The elf demanded to know if the dog was looking down on him for being an elf, and Chan wondered if maybe elves were discriminated against because of their personalities. While Chan was looking at his phone, the manager mentioned that Yona wanted to see him that night. Chan asked why. The manager explained that she and Yona had discussed his condition, and Yona had a solution, but it made her uneasy. She asked if Chan wanted to hear what Yona had to say. Later, we see the blue-haired girl telling Chan that he should get an anti-magic license. She explained that he'd be easily accepted, and it would be super useful for him in many ways. Chan asked when he could get an anti-magic license. The manager explained that a magic license is a national certification in this world, kind of like being a licensed specialist for handling magical stuff. Chan wondered if that was even possible since he had no ID in this world, but the manager confidently said she'd handle it. Chan asked how she planned to pull it off, and the manager's face lit up with excitement. She promised to take care of everything, telling him to relax, and Chan agreed, finally feeling a little less stressed. Chan asked if Yona really didn't know he was from another world. The manager confirmed, saying it was better no one else found out. The blue-haired girl sat anxiously, and the manager explained that she had told Yona Chan was from a remote island. Chan felt uneasy but decided to talk to Yona, hanging up the call with a determined look. He walked over to Yona, who asked if her sister had explained everything. Chan nodded in response. Yona then said they were ready to begin and asked if she could finally talk to him properly. Yona casually told Chan that his anti-magic ability couldn't stay hidden. She explained it wasn't that rare, just that his anti-magic trait was unusually strong, which made it special. Yona mentioned that Chan could purify and deactivate magical tools, and his growing power was definitely worth studying. She added that she and her sister had met plenty of anti-magic specialists, but none could compare to Chan. He blushed at the compliment. Yona encouraged him to think of it as a positive thing, but warned that if people found out, he'd be swarmed with requests for help. Chan asked if getting a license would solve the issue, and Yona confirmed it would, especially since her sister saw him as just a part-timer. Yona explained it would be hard for her to turn down requests or manage things properly without a license. But if Chan got the license and a contract, he'd become part of a company, and the manager could use that as an excuse to shield him from being bothered. In short, she suggested Chan couldn't take on a second job without the license. Chan agreed, calling it a smart move. Yona added that while the exam was open to everyone, her sister still had concerns. So, technically, there was no issue. But Chan thought to himself, that's exactly the problem. He reminded himself that he was just a visitor in this world, and hadn't stepped more than 30 feet outside the convenience store. In other words, to take the exam, he'd need to step into the world, take a bus, find the exam center, and actually sit for the test. He realized that even if he passed, he'd probably keep getting pulled into other people's business. Chan hesitated about taking the exam, but then Yona broke the silence, revealing her sister was really worried about him. Yona added that her sister had been talking about him non-stop since he arrived, and today she seemed extra concerned. Yona had never seen her sister like this before. Yona asked if Chan was actually brave enough to take the exam. Just then, the manager walked in with fried chicken, and Yona couldn't hide her excitement. This was the perfect excuse for a celebration, thanks to her sister. Yona asked if the manager would be okay skipping sleep that night. The manager just shrugged, saying sleep wasn't important on a day like this. Before she could say more, Chan declared he'd take the exam. He figured handling pesky customers made the exam look like a breeze. Yona smiled, and then out of nowhere started rummaging through her backpack. Chan and Yona's eyes widened as they saw what she pulled out of the backpack. The manager explained that these were talismans to help pass the exam. She had planned to make them herself, but ended up buying them since time was tight. Yona inspected the talismans and noted they looked pretty pricey. The manager then told Chan he was officially on leave. She explained he was off work until the exam and they'd prepare together. When Chan asked if that was really okay, she assured him it was, after all, the most special child in the world was taking the exam. She promised to fully support him as his manager, so they'd give it their all. Then Yona raised her finger, hesitated, and reluctantly mentioned she didn't think he'd be ready for the exam. Turns out, the exam was actually tomorrow morning at 9. She asked if they still wanted to go through with it. The two of them looked pretty deflated after hearing that. The next thing they saw was the sun rising over a stunning city. After teleporting to the convenience store, Chan peered through the glass door and asked, impressed, if they were in the academic district. The manager nodded, confirming it was the academic district, and mentioned she planned to open a new store there soon. Chan commented that the buildings looked like they belonged in a park, but the manager corrected him. It was the opposite. The largest castle, built by various races long ago, stood there. The castle, which had survived the war, now symbolized peace and had been transformed into a top-tier educational institute. Chan, still confused, asked where the exam location was. The manager pointed it out without missing a beat. Chan thanked the manager as she teleported them near the exam center. She casually said she had to do it. It was his first time, after all. She asked how he was feeling, and Chan admitted he was a bit nervous, almost like he was back in school. The manager understood the feeling and told him to call her after the exam. She'd come pick him up. Chan agreed, feeling reassured. Just a few steps outside the store, the manager called out to Chan, who turned around. Full of excitement, she told Chan not to stress and wished him good luck. Chan smiled and waved, promising to be back soon and stay healthy. After a while, the manager finished with a customer and gave him a friendly goodbye. Yona seemed distracted, her attention snapping to something odd. Checking her phone, she saw a message from her sister asking if Chan had safely arrived at the exam room. Realizing this, she knew the exam was about to start for Chan. A flashback of Chan crossed her mind, and she wondered if he'd be okay, despite telling him to stay calm. Trying to reassure herself, she muttered that surely nothing would go wrong in the exam room. Meanwhile, Chan approached an ogre, asking if he could snap photos of the exam papers with his phone. Chan explained that he rushed and forgot his study materials, asking again for permission. The ogre, flattered by Chan's confidence, adjusted his glasses. He shrugged and told Chan to go ahead. It wasn't like his test score would wear out. Chan snapped the photo and thanked him. Chan sat down, feeling at least somewhat prepared. Looking around, he noticed a lot more candidates than expected, especially given how tough the exam was. He figured he might be the only human, but the variety of species around him was surprising. He glanced at his photos, deciding to analyze the test papers with a translation app. After some time, he finally managed to translate everything and began reading the questions. One question asked what should be done when a ranked Iraqian monster is struck to fix the imbalance. Chan was completely lost. He had no idea what that species even was. Confused, Chan realized he didn't even know what species that was. He moved to the next question, which was about high-voltage wires. He wondered if rubber gloves and CPR were the right answer. Stumped by that one too, he moved on to the next question: what to do when faced with a magic bomb. His answer: run and scream. He gave himself one last shot to solve at least one question. Staring at the final question, he stayed silent, totally defeated. In his head, Chan was already telling his manager he was going to fail. Glancing around at his fellow candidates, he couldn't help but wonder how anti-magic specialists solved these kinds of questions. Chan finally understood why Yona had pursued this certification. It really opened up a ton of opportunities. At this rate, Chan figured not only would he fail this first try, but he'd probably have to retake it a few times. Suddenly, a short-haired person with an imposing presence entered the room. The proctor, named Descartes, announced that the exam would begin in 5 minutes and asked everyone to turn off their electronics and put them in their bags. Descartes explained that the exam would last 60 minutes, with 1 auditory question and 79 multiple-choice questions for a total score of 200. He warned that any cheating would result in expulsion and consequences for future exams. After reminding everyone to keep this in mind and to write answers to the auditory question on the exam sheet, he snapped his fingers and declared the dangerous exam officially underway. The first part of the exam was a listening test. As the song played, Chan picked up his exam sheet, feeling confused. Chan realized the song was a children's tune, and then the speaker started singing about an orc family living under the same roof. The song mentioned Papa Orc, Mama Orc, and Baby Orc. Papa Orc was all muscles, Mama Orc was strong too, but Baby Orc, not so much. But together, the family grew strong, and they were a happy, powerful orc family. Deckard asked everyone to write down the name of the song on their answer sheets. While everyone else seemed nervous, Chan was just confused. Chan wondered if this was really the listening test, guessing it might be an easy question to avoid anyone getting a 0. Given the tough questions earlier, he figured the real exam would be even harder, but when he looked at his paper, he saw a question about 1-1. As he kept scanning, it hit him. The questions were ridiculously easy. This couldn't be real. Chan quickly raised his hand, hoping to get Deckard's attention. Deckard walked over, asking what was wrong. Chan explained that the questions seemed a little off. Chan asked if the questions were correct, because no matter how he looked, none of it seemed right. Deckard assured him that nothing was wrong with the questions. Nicole Tony chimed in, suggesting that if there was a problem, it might be with Chan. As Deckard walked away, he told Chan to focus on the exam. Completely baffled, Chan wondered what Deckard's deal was and why he was bothering him. Chan couldn't help but wonder if these bizarre questions were actually normal. Watching Deckard's back, his frustration grew. After the exam ended, Chan stepped out onto the street. While calling his manager, Chan thought about how the exam lasted only 15 minutes. The manager asked if he finished all the questions. Chan jokingly compared the exam level to elementary school, but the manager, annoyed, insisted that their world's intellectual level was much higher. The manager asked if the test was really that easy. Chan replied with a simple yes. Chan added that he even asked the proctor, but was treated like he was the problem. He told her he answered all the questions and wondered if all the other certification exams were that easy. There was a long silence on the other end of the call. Then the manager burst into laughter. Chan asked what was going on. The manager apologized, saying the examiners had been pretty clever this time. She asked if Chan had noticed anything odd on the test, like last time, but he said no. She explained that spells were probably cast over the entire room, sensory distortion and cognitive decline spells. She asked how the other candidates had reacted. Chan remembered the worried looks of the other candidates and mentioned that they seemed to find the test tough. She guessed that the other candidates must have gotten completely different questions, since anti-magic questions are tricky. In short, if candidates solve the tough fake questions, they'll barely pass. But if they detect and dispel the magic, the exam becomes a breeze. So the examiners set up a pretty decent written test, and honestly, it was kind of entertaining. Chan disagreed, saying it was just like a practical test, and he was sure all the candidates would complain. She replied that they likely prepared 2 types of questions, so you could pass if you aced either one. She imagined the examiners thinking, let's give extra points for candidates who notice the magic, or adjust the practical test based on the candidate's level. After all, with magic, you never know what could happen. Chan grew thoughtful as he considered this. She concluded that they were probably being cautious, then asked Chan when she should pick him up. Chan told her she could come now, but she said she'd go right after helping a customer who just walked in. She said she'd text him once the customer left and asked him to wait, but Chan wasn't in a rush. Out of nowhere, 2 kids near Chan started talking. One mentioned hearing about a fight between a classmate and another student. The bunny girl said the otter from another class started it, and her friend asked if there was actually a fight. But the bunny girl corrected her friend, saying it was just a contest. The other bunny asked what kind of contest it was, and Chan couldn't help but think their conversation sounded pretty similar to his real world. But then, the bunny girl said the contest was about who was more attractive, and Chan realized he'd been way off. It definitely wasn't common. The bunny girl explained that the otter had started with a cute act to grab everyone's attention. Then, a smaller panda from another class fired back with a charm attack. They kept going even as lunch break ended. They just wouldn't stop. The other bunny, clearly hooked on the story, asked who won. The bunny girl replied that there was no winner since another class intervened, and it ended there. The boy, unimpressed, said it was boring. The brown-furred boy then mentioned there was also a dragon in his class. The bunny girl asked what kind of child the dragon was, and he replied that she was pretty strange, always trying to talk to them during playtime. Every time the group froze and the awkward silence took over, the boy finally decided that this dragon was definitely not like the others. Just then, the white bunny girl noticed something and warned her friend. They turned and saw Chan standing way too close, eavesdropping. One of the bunnies jumped, asking what Chan was doing and why he was listening to them. Chan tried to explain, but just then, his manager sent a message saying she was on her way. Apologizing quickly, Chan told the kids to be careful on their way to school and rushed off, thinking he had nearly been ratted out. As he walked away, the dragon story still nagged at Chan's mind. He recalled one of the bunny's words and wondered if the dragon they mentioned was the same one who always visited his store. Chan dismissed the idea, thinking it was too coincidental, until he heard his manager calling out to him. Later, as he walked through the streets, Chan thought about how his manager had been up for 2 nights straight and hoped she was okay. He grumbled in his head, thinking he should have worked earlier, but his boss had forbidden it because of the test. Entering the store, Chan couldn't help but think his manager was always so strict in these moments, which was a bit stressful. As he walked in, confetti flew at him, and his boss congratulated him. Chan asked why all this was happening, and she just giggled in response. She turned her phone screen toward him, urging him to take a look. Chan saw it was his exam result sheet, and his manager casually mentioned he'd passed with a perfect score and even ranked first. Chan was excited, admitting he thought he'd failed due to the odd questions. She was just as surprised by his excellent result. Chan noted that the next practical test was right around the corner, and he realized he'd have to prep for that too. Cracking her fingers, she said he could start now and summoned a magic circle with a small ball trapped inside a barrier. She asked if he could touch it, and he agreed right away. But as he reached for the circle, the ball darted in all directions, breaking free from the barrier. Chan stood there, confused, as the ball bounced all over the store, knocking into everything. Chan wondered what on earth was going on, but his manager quickly ordered him to catch the ball. She yelled that Chan could see the ball and catch it, and he nodded, ready. He focused hard, watching the ball's path, waiting for the perfect moment to catch it. Chan sprinted toward the ball, snatching it out of the air with perfect timing. Once caught, the ball changed colors. Chan asked about it, and the girl explained it was its true form, altered by her spells. The girl stepped closer, ready to explain what he needed to focus on for practice. She nodded, noting that, as expected, he could also dispel barriers. Glad she'd prepared extra containers, she continued, and Chan asked what exactly the bouncing ball was. She explained it was a tool to help him practice for the practical test, with 3 different types of magic on the ball. Out of the 3, he only needed to dispel the automatic activity magic and the sound magic. Chan asked if this was related to his practical test. She confirmed it was, explaining that as an anti-magic specialist, Chan couldn't just dispel magic carelessly. She went on to explain that even machines like subways and trains had some magic involved. They ran on electricity and oil as their main fuel sources. Plus, they had magical engines to control speed and prevent overheating. Basically, if he dispelled all the magic in those subways, they wouldn't work that day, and it would cost a ton of time and money to fix it. Whoever caused it would be charged for the damage. Chan wondered if he'd be disqualified from the practical test since he'd been dispelling magic left and right, but she reassured him he wouldn't. She reminded him that he could control his own constitution with his will. If he couldn't, he wouldn't have been able to purify the dragon's scales, so he must have control over it. She said he just needed practice controlling his constitution and dispelling one spell at a time, and he was ready to give it a shot. Chan promised to do his best, and his manager smiled, saying she'd made plenty of those elastic balls for him to practice with. She told him where to find them in the drawer under the cigarette display and said he should practice whenever possible. Surprised by everything she had set up, Chan asked if she'd prepared all of it today. She nodded, reminding him she'd promised full support. She apologized for only being able to help in this way, though she wished she could do more. She encouraged him to stay positive, knowing he could do it. So, Chan kept practicing with the balls, focused on dispelling only the necessary magic. Chan stayed alert, watching the bouncing balls with laser focus, waiting for the right moment. The balls immediately began bouncing, and he kept his eyes glued to them, ready for action. Spotting the perfect chance, Chan swiftly snatched one of the balls, but once again, the ball turned black. Adding it to his collection of failed attempts, Chan grumbled, 50 tries and still no luck. He eyed the jar, now nearly empty, realizing he was running out of chances. Remembering his manager's advice, Chan wondered if his will needed to be stronger to control his constitution. He convinced himself there had to be a right way, just as a well-dressed stranger walked into the store. Chan greeted the newcomer, unaware of who they were, when the person asked him to pay attention. The person turned out to be the wolf from before, who casually mentioned it had been a while. Chan agreed, recognizing him instantly. The wolf chuckled, saying he hadn't expected Chan to remember him, to which Chan replied, how could he forget such a memorable customer? Owning the wolf's items, Chan asked if he'd been working anywhere else. The wolf nodded, explaining his colleagues had suggested he try new places. The wolf mentioned it had broadened his horizons, though inconvenient transportation kept him from visiting often. He then asked how Chan was doing, and Chan replied he was fine. Chan recalled some past events, hinting that he had quite a story to share. Suddenly, a pale white hand pushed open the store door. A girl with albino skin and white hair entered, breathing heavily. She apologized through a frightened voice, as though ready to speak but unsure how. Desperately, she asked where the tissues were, and Chan, still startled, pointed to a corner. The girl thanked him quickly and walked over to the spot Chan pointed out. Chan turned to the wolf, wondering aloud if the girl was a ghost. The wolf shrugged, admitting he couldn't analyze it closely enough to tell. He guessed she might be a snow woman, and Chan wondered if they usually cried so dramatically. The girl wiped her eyes, crying so hard that the temperature dropped, freezing parts of the store, leaving Chan a bit spooked. Chan asked if it was really freezing, and the wolf explained that snow women release cold air, with their emotions amplifying the chill. He suggested they calm her down first, clearly expecting a long story. Chan asked how to approach her, and the wolf offered to help if Chan didn't mind. Chan politely declined, thanking the wolf but saying he couldn't involve a customer in his own mess. The wolf insisted, clearly intrigued by her story. He added that talking to multiple people could speed things up. Chan had to admit that the wolf's experience might make him better suited for this. Watching the snow girl freeze everything with her sobs, Chan finally admitted the wolf was probably better at handling situations like this. Without hesitation, Chan approached and politely tried to get her attention. Looking a bit awkward, Chan gently reminded her that the cold was starting to impact his store. He asked her kindly to please keep the chill in check for the sake of the business. But when he looked into her eyes, he could see the sadness was real, tears still streaming down her face. Apologizing, she asked if she could stay just a bit longer. Chan agreed, but only for 3 minutes. He wasn't made of ice, after all. She promised she'd leave in 3 minutes, just as the wolf pulled something from his coat, clearly up to something. With a handkerchief in hand, the wolf took a respectful stance, asking if he could inquire about what was troubling her. He spoke softly, saying that even the toughest problems feel lighter when shared, and asked if she was ready to talk. Feeling a bit of relief, she shared that her boyfriend had cheated on her with a coworker. Chan's jaw dropped. He hadn't expected that twist. Through her tears, she explained how he'd told her he was working overtime, but she had spotted him leaving the theater with another woman. Turns out, he'd been cheating all along. Chan couldn't help but think it sounded straight out of a drama. The wolf, curious, asked what happened next. She explained they fought, pulling each other's hair, but the pain got to her, and she ended up running away. She went on to explain how the mistress had been nasty, threatening her and claiming the man was hers to destroy. Chan stared, absolutely shocked by the intensity of it all. She sighed, both frustrated and confused, wondering how the mistress could be so confident after everything. To top it all off, the guy was always stirring up trouble with her, and now he'd gone and stolen her man. No wonder she was freezing everything around her. The wolf, watching the storm unfold, admitted he couldn't fully grasp her feelings. He suggested, though not entirely understanding, that maybe she still loved her ex and asked if she'd consider having an honest conversation with him and the mistress. She shook her head, saying she shouldn't have to deal with those who wronged her. The wolf nodded, acknowledging her pain but pointing out the unresolved feelings lingering inside. The wolf explained that burying regret only made it worse, as unresolved feelings would keep haunting her heart. He finished by saying it was tough now, but even resolving things just a little could help her move forward. With that, he told her it was the only way to find happiness in the future. The girl finally nodded, admitting he was right. Standing up, determined, she realized avoiding it now would only lead to regret later. Almost at the door, she muttered that she knew they'd fight again, but this time, it would be different. This time, though, she wouldn't run away. She'd face it head-on and settle things for good. As she left, the white-haired girl thanked the wolf for his help, but he waved it off, saying he didn't really do much. Just then, a red car screeched to a halt in front of the store, adding a bit of drama to the already tense moment. Chan, slightly concerned, asked if he should call the police, but the snow woman calmly shook her head. It was under control. The driver, a girl with fiery red hair, challenged the snow woman, wondering if she was seeking help from another race or just after a new flirt target. The redhead, with her bright, fiery hair, leaned out of the car, clearly ready to stir things up. With a mocking laugh, the red-haired girl scoffed, claiming the snow woman always showed her pathetic side. The white-haired woman shot back, demanding to know how her rival could be so shameless as to show up and act without conscience. But the redhead wasn't interested in the drama, saying love was something you had to fight for yourself, not talk about. The fiery girl then kindly advised her rival to just give up while she still had the chance. Frustrated, the snow woman started freezing everything around her, while Chan stood there, utterly confused by the unfolding madness. Chan couldn't believe it. These two were actually about to fight here? The snow woman summoned ice crystals as proof. Trying to keep the peace, Chan asked the red-haired girl to move her car, explaining she couldn't park right there. Before she could reply, something unexpected happened. Her temper flared. With a fiery glare, the redhead conjured a fireball in her hand, warning Chan to back off unless he wanted to visit the hospital. Chan tried again, asking her to leave, but the snow woman, now surrounded by ice crystals, declared she'd never lose her boyfriend to a lunatic like that. With a burst of energy, she released her powers, vowing the redhead wouldn't take her boyfriend from her. Just then, the wolf stepped in, warning the snow woman that if she kept this up, she'd regret it later. In one swift motion, he struck her neck, knocking her out cold. The snow woman, who had been fuming just moments ago, collapsed, unconscious, and unable to react. The red-haired girl, utterly confused by the turn of events, asked who the wolf was. She asked where he'd come from so suddenly, but the wolf, now leaning the snow woman against the wall, just stared at her in silence. The redhead called out to Chan, asking if the wolf was his friend, and wondered if he planned on interfering in everyone's business. She threatened both of them with a fiery burn, but before she could do anything, the wolf immobilized her, and she collapsed. As the redhead passed out, the wolf apologized, just in case he'd offended her. The wolf explained that he had been watching, hoping they'd work things out, but since they were about to hurt each other, he had to step in. He then gently asked Chan if he was okay. Lear said he was fine but couldn't help wondering if the wolf really needed to be able to do all that just to drive. The wolf shrugged, explaining that when you get a call, you have to react fast. Speed's essential in his line of work. He added that without quick reactions, survival would be tough. Lee couldn't help but wonder if the wolf was really just a driver. Glancing up, the wolf noticed the huge chunks of ice and sighed it was a problem. Chan asked if they'd melt on their own, but the wolf wasn't sure. The wolf explained that magical objects didn't just disappear, they were tough, and magical ice, in particular, was nearly indestructible. He added that magical objects all shared this trait, so dealing with them required calling an anti-magic specialist. Chan quickly put 2 and 2 together. He probably could get rid of the ice himself. He figured getting rid of the ice would be way easier than that crazy test with the bouncing walls. Confident, he reached out to touch one of the ice crystals, figuring it would work even if he didn't focus too much. The ice began to melt right away, and the wolf couldn't help but marvel at how fascinating it was. The wolf asked if Chan was skilled in anti-magic, and the boy, a bit shy, admitted he knew just a little. Lee asked if the wolf could tell if someone was an anti-magic user just by looking at them, and the wolf said yes, explaining that he visited the hospital every month. The wolf had become familiar with anti-magic through his regular visits to a specialist, leaving Lee surprised that such a person existed at the hospital. Curious, Chan asked if the wolf could share more about his visits to the hospital. The wolf asked why, and Chan explained that he was studying to get certified in anti-magic, but the practical part was giving him trouble. He hoped hearing the wolf's story might help him figure it out. The wolf was surprised he hadn't realized Chan was still learning. The wolf said Chan seemed so skilled earlier, he hadn't guessed he was still an amateur. Chan just shrugged it off, admitting he was still learning. Chan then asked if the wolf could lend him a hand with his training. The wolf agreed but said he'd show him something instead, rolling up his sleeve. He said it was faster to show, then pointed his wrist toward Chan. Chan, now curious, asked what the symbol on the wolf's wrist was. It looked like a chain surrounding a magical circle. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button until explosion. See you on the next video.